And we should be live.
Welcome to the Clutch Kick. I'm one of your hosts, EG, and somewhere
I'm floating between you to your
Okay.
left.
So to my left is Gregory Merriman,
And to your further left is your other guest.
Okay, all right. Is Matt Harvey, back by popular demand.
Oh, popular demand, jeez.
Oh, yeah, by EG.
So many messages.
Yeah, by EG.
Oh, there was other news we forgot to speak about before we came on that we should speak about when we speak about the news. But wasn't Tita round 1 on the weekend?
Oh yeah.
I didn't really hear anything about it.
Yeah, that's because somebody shit won it. Somebody in a monster truck S13 won.
He was
Yeah.
too lazy to re-lower the car after transport. And I don't think they've ever driven that track before, and they've had like barely any drifting experience compared to a lot of other people in this country.
Oh, bullshit. Cry me a river, Justin Timberlake. Cry me a fucking river.
No, he did really well. But yeah.
Do you want to say who he is?
Does he deserve it?
Well, he's been on the show before.
Okay, so yeah, congratulations to Jake Amara for taking out the Tita round 1, I think. Is it round 1?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was round 1.
So that was at Hidden Valley. So I was getting a few messages from Jake as well as from Mitch Doyle, who was updating me, I guess, or us, on how he was progressing. And yeah, he pretty much smashed it because he was sort of worried that he wouldn't be able to manage that course because his power's a bit sort of low-ish, I guess you'd say, compared to, especially compared to New South Wales scene, which is, minimum's probably about 250 kilowatt. So I think he rocked up to Darwin with only about 160 at the wheels, so he's a bit worried about running on Hidden Valley. It sounded like he had some really cool battles. They ran an interesting course as well. So I think he's saying that they ran 3 corners, which would, on the videos, I could only see 2 corners. So I'm not exactly sure which corners were judged. It was included the hairpin at the top of the course. But what they did to bunch up the cars after, because there's like straights in between, they actually did a chicane. So the lead car would have to go through a chicane, while the chase car could sort of, what do you call it, pass, or anyway, they wouldn't have to pass through the chicane, and then that'd give the chase car a chance to catch up.
Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense after some of the videos that I saw pop up from it. So they sort of, you've got turn 1, which is off the front straight, and then sort of a little bit of a S's section, and then it goes into a sort of sweeping 90-degree right-hander, and I think they did that corner, then into a chicane section, and then into the hair, like sort of the infamous hairpin of that circuit, and then the next corner after that. So they ended up doing that. One of the videos I saw, because I was a bit confused as to how they were running it, because guys were just live streaming it, and one of the guys had gone off the track behind Jake, and then Jake drifted the next corner as well, and I was like, oh, maybe that was sort of the run-up section, and that guy's like cooked it going, like, as he's running up to the hairpin, but clearly that was a judge section. So yeah, it was good to see a dude from this side of the country go over there and do well in a low horsepowered car, and show that not everybody from over this direction's shit. Well,
come on. Talking about New South Wales?
Come on, let's be real. The drift scene of late in Australia has been absolutely dominated by the South, by your South Australians, your Victorians, and your Tasmanians, or anybody who sort of started drifting down south. So to see somebody not quite as far south as those three places go and do well for the first time at a different track is good. And Danny Pro, I'm guessing it was Danny Pro, but had like his street car or something that he was entered in. It looked like it didn't have a cage
Yeah,
and
I saw that.
had number plates and stuff like that.
The
So
livery was different. Yeah. So, because I
yeah,
think
didn't
that-
look like it had a cage and it had back seats. So
yeah, they still look pretty drift car-y, if that makes sense.
yeah, but probably definitely not nearly as crazy as his
Competition
yeah,
car, like
competition
full
car.
number one
Yeah,
main car, I guess call it.
yeah.
Well, it showed the chicanes worked because most guys up there are running V8s, aren't they? So it showed that a lower horsepower guy can actually catch up during the straights and it'd be competitive by both V8 and little SR, which is actually good to see.
Yeah, I think from the pictures I saw, the battles looked really close.
Yeah, and when you got a car that high, it's got no aerodynamics, so sort of cuts through the air with without too much resistance. So
yeah, it's more like a wing. That's how he gets his lightweightness.
yeah. But
Doesn't Kawabata have or some famous D1 driver have a huge a car with a huge clearance?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a few of them.
As a S15 with a VR38, is that the car?
Yeah, that's not Kawabata, but yeah, that's the car you think you got.
Yeah, because there's the 180 as well that has that. And it looks terrible, but obviously it works.
Well, I'm hoping Jake drops it because the car looks fucking terrible.
No, now that you said that,
he's gonna leave it up. Honestly, he's probably gonna
leave it up. Yeah.
He's probably gonna find a way to do some sort of body lift. He'll probably trim the body away from the unibody away from the bottom floor pan and find a way to raise it up to make it look even higher and do all sorts of crazy shit. I'm sure if it was a ladder chassis, he'd find a way he'd put a bloody body lift or some shit in it just to make it even higher.
2-inch lift kit.
But yeah, well done to Jake for going up there and taking that round out. Somebody said in the comments, pretty sure Patrick's another.
He's the guy. I think he was running or helping run.
Yeah,
Tita.
Pretty
sure.
Yeah, said 90% stock XR.
Yeah, our motor's cool.
So
you can pump boost into them and they'll take it real well. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Patrick is one of the team guys that's organising most of the events up there. But I'm not too sure. Hopefully, he sort of comments about his role.
Yeah, hasn't been. I can't find a huge amount on it. I'm even in their sort of closed group up there, but not a huge amount. But hopefully more info and there's a bit of media coming out. Yeah, it just really is a shame that the winning car looks so terrible. So, and that guy destroys 350Zs. That's alright. I love you, Jake. So, and then we sort of move down south, and round 3 of Drifting SA was over the weekend, the summer series. Again, not a huge amount online when it comes to final results.
Always good to see a live stream though. It's actually run pretty well as well.
Yeah, so Will Chamberlain, photographer, media extraordinaire / I'm pretty sure he's a board member for Drifting SA, I think was behind getting all that to happen. And the fact that they've managed to make it happen by the 3rd round, and they haven't run a series before. It's always been Malala running the series, so big props to them for making that happen. And they just set that camera up in a good spot and just let it stream for the best part of both days, and had the little graphic update, so let people know where they were in the competition. So no, really good of them to do that for everybody. Biggest problem I think with that series is that it's a driver's event, which isn't really a problem, but from a spectator view it's a problem, because it just goes for hours and hours and hours, and you can cut back in and out. and you'll be like, oh, have we made it through this far yet? And it's like, nope. Another exhibition session. Drivers are getting absolute crap ton of time. They gave the guys who made the finals like a good half an hour to swap tires and do all that sort of stuff before they're rushing out to battle. So uh, watching that live stream gets me like I really want to go and attend one of the rounds just because it's such a drivers event. It's not really, it's a spectator event because you get to see an absolute crap ton of driving, but it's not a spectator event in regards to sitting there and watching the whole competition. It's just a great opportunity to watch some really good driving. So I really want to try and get down there to a round, if not one of the last rounds of this year, but one of the early rounds of next season, because definitely looks cool.
I think we all want to do that, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to try and send them a message and ask if there's some way we can organise like a different type of event, so we can get, like last week you were talking about trying to get like a big group of us from all over Australia together at one point.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool if you can run an event like that where you get to go meet all these guys again and hang out and get that sort of vibe. I think it'd be a really cool, good spot down in Tailem, just with their facility and the amount of layouts you can do.
Well, there used to be one. It used to be called DCA.
It's still around. What are you talking about?
Fink's probably not watching, so it's not worth the stir.
No, he is stirring. Like he's actually, there are messages flying around. So it sounds like the Taz series is really starting to get moving now. So and then a few other sort of messages going around. So I think
hopefully
just
stuff starts kicking up again.
Yeah.
I think you'll hear more and more soon, and then it'll sort of ramp up at some point in the middle of this year, and sort of be back on song for the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's pretty much June is the first round of Tassie series, June 6th to 7th, and then from there on it's June, July, or September, and then that's when caching starts in late October. So the 3 rounds of cachings.
So have they decided to rename that series this year to the Matt Harvey DCA Tasmania Drift Series, or?
Come on, mate. I'm number 2, remember? I have 2 bridesmaids championships. Dale campaign's still number 1 twice in a row. So, I'm a bit annoyed that I can't do it this year. And Dale will probably be pissed off he can't do it 3 years in a row. But next year will be hopefully on the cards, and hopefully a national series that we can compete again.
Yeah.
Because what they've got is they've got cachings Mount Gambier, like the weekend after World Time Attack, and the weekend after Mount Gambier is the Tassie cachings. So we have to go.
We don't know that those dates have been 100% confirmed yet.
Well, not from rumours. From what I've heard from rumours.
Yeah. I've been told the same thing. So that's also like 2 weeks after Mount Gambier is only like 2 weeks after World Time Attack or something as well. So it'll be a big stretch for a lot of guys. But I think the idea for the Tassie sort of Cash Kings is more pushed towards the Tassie guys than the mainland, and maybe a few mainland guys will make the trip across, but I think it's mostly aimed at the Tassie guys because you guys tend to get a little bit more into it than everybody else. And
well, you've come over before. Do you think it's worth coming down for a weekend? Especially since there's 9 grand on the line.
Yeah, I don't know. There's more value personally for me. I prefer the national series, like doing it as a round of the national series, and I feel like I have to attend. Where Cash Kings, I'm a bit more like, oh, I'm just going for fun. Do I want to spend X number of thousands to go down? But yeah, I 100% want to do another trip to Tassie and do that, because I don't think I don't think there's any other track in Australia other than maybe Barbagallo, if they're allowed to use the sheds, that you sort of get that sort of clean V8 supercar spec garages and all that to use. Uh,
And then it's also safe. You can lock them up during the night, and you don't have to worry about guys pinching tools. Even though Tassie's pretty good for that stuff.
yeah, and
Not pinching tools, obviously.
yeah, well, and then there are guys doing bloody motor swaps all through the night and stuff like that anyway. So, no, Tasmania is definitely one of those places that it's worth getting down there. But I think it's getting people have got to be smarter and smarter about their vehicle permits and stuff like that, because I think there's been a bit of a crackdown. I think mostly on the mainland with people trying to get to and from the boat about that stuff. So, no, I want to try and get down again, but yeah, the expense of towing down. Once I know a car's going to work, I don't know if this year because of it. Not sure I can afford to take that much time off work with Mount Gambier and them being so close together. But yeah, hopefully for me the following year. And I hope if he does, if National kicks off again and there's a National round, he keeps going with the format of running right into the night for both, for the Saturday, even for National, just run it through into the night just so we get
More track time.
Yeah, heaps of track
Yeah.
time and just get to hang out more and do all that. The more people are forced together, it seems like the better the atmosphere gets and everybody sort of has a better time. So,
Yeah.
no, it's definitely cool. So back to Drifting SA. From my understanding, Dale Campaign won the weekend as outright champion, and Scott Miller again won the battle component with Alexander Kanarowski, podium getter from the weekend before at Vic Drift, coming in second. And they sort of do it was interesting to finally get to watch it, because you forget after we had that long chat with Stewie, the long chat with Solly and a bunch of the SA guys, that they do you have to win 2 full battles to win the tandem component.
Into the tree, the knockout tournament.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there was this layout looked like for the pro guys really did challenge them with the sort of, I don't know what because there is a bit of a corner there, so it's not really a Scando entry, but it's like huge high speed sort of, not, I guess
Almost like a Mayan type style where you come across and you flick it back.
kind of, but it's almost like a little bit like Simmons Plains in some way, but just like not as much corner as the entry at Simmons, but more speed.
Yeah.
But then you've got to try and you got to settle the
yeah.
car really quickly back the other direction once you have entered. But a lot of guys were spearing off the track at the end of that section.
Yeah.
So
It looked like it was very challenging, and then it did show like those people that, it did show to people watching that the class of driving is quite high, because when they made it through that course, it was really good, like some world class driving there.
yeah, for sure. And then I ended up watching the finals, and they went one battle each, both making mistakes in their respective battles, which sort of pushed them to a third battle. And then I'm pretty sure Alex made contact again with Scott, and that is what pushed Scott through, and Scott just had the cleaner of the runs. But yeah, watching the SA guys drive and attack the first corner, they don't lift, they don't do anything. It's just straight up like those guys. Like, I understand where DCA got a little bit of its reputation from now watching those guys, because I know it started on that skid pan, not too just a couple of 100 meters away from where they were competing. DCA sort of cut its teeth and became what it is, with a lot of those guys driving it. And yeah, holy shit, they just go, just attack. Even if they run off track, get back on it, drive it hard, car in front goes off, give them space to get back on track, and then try and jump on them again. Like, just, yeah, super competitive, crazy driving, and guys pushing each other. So, yeah, as far as I'm aware, that's how that all went down. I can't find any extra info. Um, our our ears on the ground have been letting us down lately, so we should really we should really attack
We
those
should
guys and
bugger
make.
them for a media release or something.
Yeah, we really should.
Media, yeah.
But if Stu gave it to us, it'd be like 15 pages long. So
With the live stream, or obviously with the competition as well, they did. So they had the top, like the tier 1 with tier 2. So they do top 16 of tier 1, and then top 16 of tier 2, and then 8 for final. Do you think that was better doing that way instead of running the tier 2, like tier 2, 32 the final, and then do tier 1 and then final, or would you rather do it the other way?
but as I said, to me, it's a driver event. It's not a spectator event. So to have it
No.
split like that to me is ideal, because if, say, somewhere like you was like cruising through the day but having little issues, and you needed time to, you kept snapping drive shafts or something, and you needed time to change that before the next battle, instead of them being like, you've only got 10 minutes to change it. You're like, like I've got a good half an hour while they pump through
Yeah.
these battles, or a good 45
Yeah.
minutes. It really does make it more of a driver's event.
Yeah.
With that, and I think
I think this sort of event would actually be really good to have a post, like a post-production video. So
Yeah.
someone, maybe they have a host up there at the time, or even just like run off the commentary they have there, and then they release like a video a week later saying this is how the event went down, and it's actually easier for the spectator, like a viewer, to see it. And then you just go, I want to see this bit, and they say this is the pro or whatever they call the class, from top 32 down, and then have what's it called, visual cues in there, so that's easy to understand. And then you might have another video for just the team section, and then the street class as well.
There has been little bits and pieces like that. I know Will put some videos out from the team drift from the last round, and there are media drops like that. But yeah, I think for a state championship type thing, where they're trying to really build driver skill level, and that's sort of why there's so much variety within the event. I think that, yeah, if I was down there and having little car issues and stuff like that, I would love to have that extra bit of time between the runs. And considering they're not having to make significant changes to the track either, like I know that I think level 1 is the lower guys and level 2 is the higher guys, I think.
No, other way around.
Is it
So
the other
level
way
2
around?
is-
I think they might have been putting the wrong graphics up sometimes. But the lower level guys were starting from the front straight and then not having to do the right hander before the left
Sweeper.
hander. So it's not like they'll have, but all the other clips and stuff I'm pretty sure were the same. So they weren't having to go out there and make significant changes. They just sort of bumped where the start line was at and stuff like that. So it didn't slow it down too much. But yeah, it's not a FD or a Vic Drift or a a D1 where you can sit there and watch it all day, because if you sat there and watched it all day, you to follow the narrative, you've literally watched 8 hours of footage like each day for the 2 days.
I guess we've got to also understand that's the first time live streaming event. So, I mean, they did pretty damn well for the first ever time live streaming.
I'm guessing you didn't sit and listen to Stewie's and Solly's explanation of the way the series works?
No, I did not. So.
Yeah, well, that's longer than that video. Well, those 2 videos went for as long as the whole like FD weekend went for the other weekend, just explaining how that competition works. So I would imagine running the competition takes even a little bit longer than explaining it. So, but driver's event, like watching it, I am
100%.
I am fucking keen to get a car down there, even if it isn't super competitive, just to get down there, because guys who weren't making it through the battles were getting more track time than the guys making it through to the finals and stuff like that, because there was just whenever there was sort of downtime or they were giving those guys a buffer to change tires, like, all right, half an hour of open track, not like, hey, like it's going to take 10 minutes for these guys to change tires, go out there and do 2 or 3 laps. They opened up full sessions and stuff like that, and I'm pretty sure that's when Matty Wen, who's in the live chat and I think he's doing well in the sort of the AM series of it. I think he crashed his 33 during one of those sessions later in the day. So um, it seems it gives me that DCA vibe, because they all get a little bit loose. Later in the day once they're all done with competitions. So and that's the fun part.
It's fun to be a spectator there on the track, I reckon.
Yeah.
It's so exciting. And then probably allowing passenger laps as well, so you could probably jump on board. I don't know if there's a cost or anything, but I have a feeling that you could get in one of those cars, which would be pretty fun, especially in those trains. Like, I think we got tagged in some of the trains that are running by Seoul.
I'm pretty sure
there was some close calls there.
I'm pretty sure they were also just running during open practice. It was just like they were sending cars, and it would look like one. I felt like I was watching one of those all-star events at Mehan, where it was just car after car after car, and pretty much if somebody made a mistake, then everybody went spearing off to try and avoid accidents. But big high speed into really low speed technical, so cool layout. Be interested to see what they end up doing for the last round, considering they've sort of used their 2 major sections off the front straight now. I wonder if they'll try and use some of the big back sweeper or something like that for the last round, or if they'll sort of maybe use one of those in cuts off the front straight or something. So yeah, keen to see what they do for round 4. I think somebody said round 4 is in June. Trying to think if I've got anything leading into June, but I think I have a couple of events in May, so might not be ideal, but we shall see what happens.
It'd be even good just to fly over and just watch it for a weekend, like hit up some people for accommodation or something like that, and just watch it.
Well, funny you talk about accommodation. There's a guy we know that's got an Airbnb.
What was his YouTube channel again?
Well, I don't know. He's not watching, so
crazy drift taxi or something like that.
So old wanker taxi dude or something. He's not watching, so no, we won't talk about him.
I plug his channel.
No. So. Yeah.
Speaking about YouTube, there was an explanation that Connor put up in our community group about his
thoughts,
impressions.
Yeah.
An explanation on how he thinks the electric Camaro runs or works.
Yeah.
So if you guys haven't seen that, check that out. It's a good explanation. Really and it makes sense.
Yeah, it's up on YouTube as well. It was a good explanation. Somebody's like, the audio on this video sucks, and I'm just like, are you serious? Like, you get good information.
Oh, it was his birthday. He has a new microphone, so if you keep watching his channel, he'll have better audio shortly.
Who cares?
This guy did, because he had to comment that the audio was shit. So
doesn't really matter. The explanation is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there. Like, doesn't matter if it's the best quality or the shittest quality. That's the explanation's there. It's pretty self-explanatory. Once you get into most of the video, you go, oh, yeah, that's right. Like, that's how it works. Like, it makes you feel dumb but smart at the same time.
Yeah, and it's isn't that what being Tasmanian's all about?
Yeah, 2 heads, one's dumb, one's smart.
Hey, just remember, EG made the posters, not me.
That was on Greg's request of the.
Come on, mate.
Come on. Don't worry, I can tag it. It's all good.
Yeah, shit. When he's Matt always wears the clever head until like the finals.
Yep, and then just
the
Different
other
helmet.
the other one comes out. Matty Wen said that potential ball run, which is that big sweeping back corner for drifting SA last round. So that should be interesting, and I would imagine she wants to use all the track. So by the end of the season, so yeah. Connor's posted a link in the Facebook group. Considering there's one person watching on YouTube,
In a
I
live
doubt
feed.
you're too
Yeah.
worried about it. Yeah, so I think that's all that's sort of happened of late.
Oh, wait, did you forget about Super Drift in Long Beach,
Ah,
Greg?
fuck. We should really talk. It's been like half an hour. We should really talk about Matt.
Okay.
Love FD.
Talk about the Super Series Super Drift.
See, we just lost more viewers. We're like in the single digits now because we brought it up. Yeah, I don't know. FD had its Motegi Super Drift exhibition event at Long Beach,
Is it-
and
Is it supported by FD or is it actually like they're a different series?
no, it's supported by FD because it's yeah, they're doing it for I guess for show at the IndyCar race on the IndyCar race weekend at Long Beach. And I guess on the first night they were supposed to have 8 cars. They ended up with 5. I think it lasted all of about 40 minutes. I think there was 2 tandem
was
battles.
Crazy.
Um,
That was
there was a truck that
that's
couldn't.
your.
There was a truck that couldn't do a U-turn.
Yeah.
Um,
There was a Corvette that understeered straight into the wall.
Yeah, there was a brand new Corvette that decided to rip itself apart, but he got it back out there the next day. Rad Dan put his practice car in the wall, but I saw a video of that on his YouTube channel or on Instagram or something, and the casting in the rack, just where the shaft comes down onto the rack, the short side had completely snapped away from the rest of the steering rack. So whenever he'd steer, the whole rack would just move back and forth and not actually turn the wheels. So I'd imagine that broke before he made contact with the wall. That didn't look like that was the sort of damage that you probably would have copped from hitting the wall. So yeah. But yeah, not a great showing of the quality of drifting. Forrest Wang won both nights. Dean Kearney's car was broken on the first night, but got it out on the second. And
didn't even look like he tried.
yeah,
No, it didn't even look like he had to try.
well, he wouldn't have had to really.
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty sure his best run was a bar run, which is saying something.
I'm imagining he just wanted to keep the car in one piece too. So he didn't. I don't think he wall dragged really or did anything crazy. So yeah, look. For your general punters that would have been there, they probably thought the whole thing was sick. Good variety of cars. I think what they have, S14, a Viper, a BMW, Supra, a Corvette, a Ferrari, an RX-8.
That's pretty cool variety.
Yeah, so like they had a really good variety of cars and sort of some of your most interesting cars from the FD field, but not necessarily your strongest competitors. But I think a few guys who were invited or could have stepped in to fill spots were sort of trying to save cars. And I know last year the Waterhouse guys did the event, but I know James was back in.
Yeah, Peter.
James was back in Ireland trying to build that E92 ready for the Drift Masters series. So
When does that start up again?
I don't think it's that far away because maybe once they get the fire at Notre Dame put out, they'll be able to start the series. But poor Matt's just like, Jesus Christ, you make me cringe, mate.
I've been there. I've been inside it.
18th of May, round 1.
So what's that? Just a month and a day away.
Yeah, something
Pretty
like that. So very soon. And I think this weekend is first round of extreme drift games as well. So
Yeah, I saw Connor put up a photo saying he's only got 4 days left to pretty much build the car, brand new car.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. And then something about he can't release details until his birthday in June, or something about one of the other things going on. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's pregnant.
Jesus. He's only, is he even 16 yet?
No, I think it's his 16th birthday.
Ah, I see.
What?
You're
I
legal
thought
then.
he's 16, isn't he?
Nah,
Was
nah.
he?
And his brother's
turning
18.
16.
Brother's 18.
Yeah, he's
18?
turning 16.
Jesus.
Yep, still a baby.
Okay.
All
He's been
right.
driving for ages too.
Yeah. Well, now that Matt's been dropping hints about Europe, let's get on to Matt.
Oh.
So, Matt we had on last week. Matt Harvey's should be is pretty much a staple in the Australian drift scene now. Been around since not quite Drift
A long
Australia
time.
days, but ADGP days, and sort of done a lot of national campaigning.
I should be good enough for that amount of time.
So do you want to give us a bit of a rundown on where drifting started for you, why the interest, and sort of what you've been up to with it?
Right. So where it all started was, I think, back in 2005, 2006 was I went to an event that Michael Truscott invited me and my dad to go see in Winton Park. That was DA Drift Australia, Winton Park, or Winton, back in 2006 actually, and won it. And pretty much from there on, I got hooked. You know, seeing these cars going sideways and actually getting kind of close back in those days, which pretty close. So kind of really thought, holy shit, this is something different that I've never seen before, and I really want to get into it. So pretty much I was, 8 or 9 at the time, maybe 10. Came back, decided that I wanted to drive or drift. So we got to work on what car we should run. And at the time, something different was a K70 Corolla. Had a friend of mine, Lloyd Smith, who was building one for Lexus V8, which is pretty well known around the world these days.
Yeah, that's for anybody who's sort of seen it.
The Falcon Star.
Yeah, Falcon Star 1 had the ITBs out the bonnet with the socks on it. I think bloody infamous for doing 360s everywhere it could possibly do 360s. Yeah. And I still remember him at World Time Attack Challenge or Tectoloid Drift Challenge, whatever it was at the time. And they did driver introductions, and he dropped fourth just like as he rolled up in front of the crowd and just dumped fourth in that car. And yeah, just that car was cool as hell. So
just a loose unit. He was behind the wheel. Yeah, so he had the 1UZ, and we had a little standard SR20 for the first year. So I learned to drift in that for about a year, and then we got a hold of a 2.2 litre bottom end, a Nitto Stroker 2.2 litre bottom end, and from there on we did 2 or 3 years in that car. Won a couple of events, did 2012, 13, we did Drift Australia, not Drift Australia, ADGP. So, and then the third round, we ended up coming first in Perth, which was pretty damn cool. So, I can say I've got a trophy in ADGP and trophies in DCA, which is 2 of the national events. And then from there on, we not retired, but we're going to build this Corolla with a new motor. So we got our hands on I bought an S13 for about $3,000 and drifted it with a CA. Last an event, and then I pulled it out because I hated it, and put the stroker in it. And from there on, it was meant to last 3 rounds, but it's lasted 5 years. So
Just just a short build on the Corolla then.
Just a short build, yeah. It's been sitting in the shed for about 5 years. So we're finally getting our hands on it again, and it should be done. Don't get my hopes up, but it should be done by the end of the year, close to the start of next year.
Is the
I'm pretty excited
2.2 going back in that car now that you're doing the swap on the... Oh no, because you killed that. You end up killing that motor. No.
What, the 2.2 liter?
Yeah.
It needs rebuilding because we are in the wet. Well, what happened was we put the solid head on. We had to get different cams, and the cams, for some reason, need to be running on a diet or running properly with single valve springs and everything else for that. But we didn't have time, so we just dropped them in for the World Time Attack. Did an event, and they got really soft and picked and dropped to rocker arms, which bent a couple of valves. So not great. So,
expensive.
Yeah, so that motor's currently out, and the new motor is going in as we speak.
Yeah,
So,
you had a dyno day or something today?
No.
What was
No.
What was that on? Because you were
That was in the street car.
Ah, okay.
So did a small build on that and made 245 kilowatts.
So that's your new DCA Taz car?
No.
See, he still wants to show up with the full automatic weapons. He doesn't want to show up with the crossbow and try and prove to people that he can still win a war with a crossbow. He wants to show up and just like wreck people.
Come on, that car has got standard lock, standard rear arms. It pretty much has coilovers and engine mods, and that's it.
What is it?
So,
it's a 33 Skyline, right?
Yeah, it's 33 4-door.
Mate, get on the blower to GK Tech. As buddy, one of the best drivers in the country. They would send you parts, no troubles, and you'd be set and ready to go.
We did a sponsorship deal, and they declined because they had too many sponsorship deals.
Oh my god. How do you turn down the best driver with two heads to speak to everybody at the same time? Like, let's be real. All right, so I'm gonna send GK Tech abusive messages and be like, I'm gonna cancel my order on parts because, yeah, you turned down one of the best drivers in the country.
I wouldn't say best drivers in the country, but
how would you not say one of the best drivers in the country? Oh yeah, I've only won a round of ADGP, multiple rounds of podium. You've won rounds of DCA, right? National DCA.
The only rounds I ever won at DCA is the taxi runs.
Oh, okay, they're the ones you crash at.
That's the ones I break my motors on.
Oh, okay.
So try too hard and try and be sharp.
So you've won events and definitely no slouch at World Time Attack Challenge. So
other than a rookie mistake, yeah.
Yeah, but rookie mistakes, that's okay. Shitty spotter. Let's just blame him instead. That's what all the boys do.
You notify me the rain was coming.
Well, I'm just trying to yell into this bloody radio that's got like 1 kilometer range and you're 3 kilometers away from me. I'm standing in the rain.
You're talking in my ear while I'm driving.
Yeah, that was the only part where I could hear, hey mate, it's raining, as he's driving past. Like, yeah, fuck, I got ya.
Yep. Heard ya. Too late, bro.
I'm backwards already.
Have you still got that? Was that a CD? Yeah, it was a CD, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Why didn't you use phone?
Because we weren't thinking at the time.
Because they only use CB in Tasmania, I guess. Come on,
we bought those for the event. We wanted to use them. We wanted to get our money worth.
Yeah, okay.
And they didn't work.
When you already had phones with earpieces.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
We learned from our mistakes.
But yeah, back to you being one of the best drivers in the country. Just shut up and take the compliment. Maybe debatable in your eyes. Not debatable in other people's.
Hey, while we're talking about, have you ever battled Fink?
I have not. I've never battled Fink.
Not even done a tandem run with him at all in anything.
No. No.
Jeez, I want to see that.
That's because you're not
Because
pro.
I couldn't remember it.
So
Yeah,
do
you
I couldn't
I wanna
remember if
battle.
he did it. And then I think that'll be cool. I'd really want to see that.
But would it
The
be as
only
good as?
time I've been in the same competition as he won. He beat me in qualifying in a Borough car. That was at Formula. That was the King of Europe event at Calder Park back in
Yeah.
2016.
Yep. And you're both at World Time Attack as well last year.
But there was no qualifying in that. No, I don't think Matt made it out of the pools because they screwed him on a shitty call when it got wet.
I think it was Spotter's fault, really. I really remember a spotter he had was terrible.
Or maybe it was a shitty connection because you seem to be a bit choppy there, mate. So
Yeah, I go first, second, third down this front straight, and I go, oh shit, it's raining. Okay, enter. And then just hope for the best.
well, we'll get radios fixed up for. Well, it's bloody South Circuit this time, so you can just put it in like third gear and crawl up the hill. So
Pretty much, yeah. That track's pretty much.
Is that confirmed?
I think it's as good as. I think it's as good as. So
I don't think it's been announced yet.
it's on the internet. It must be true.
Yeah.
I think you can do some cool entries in there, but the rest of it's just like a power burn up the hill if they're doing the normal direction, which I think they're doing.
Yeah, they don't have much choice because it's got sawtooth, ripple strips, and all that.
Yeah, but
Hasn't
that's
it?
fine. We've run backwards over them before.
Yeah, as long as and if you avoid being deep on them, you're sweet. So it's probably actually better that they run it back. See, ripple strips should be backwards for drifters and the normal way for race cars.
I should just not run ripple strips.
Nah, just put
Just
ripple
run
strips on.
No, but it puts them off. Puts drifters going off wide.
Yeah, big time because you just know you're gonna destroy your rims.
Yeah.
So. But see, Matt has nice lip.
Suspension arms.
But Matt has nice dish lip rims, and he probably doesn't want to bend his dish.
The sweeper on Sims Plains have seen a few seen a few wheels. Because you have to run them to connect between the last corner and the sweeper of Sims Plains. You can't go like this, jolting around. But
You've clearly done that a few times in your life because you've got that down.
Yeah, sweeper and between 2 and 3, which most people ride.
On the outside.
On the outside, most people dirt drop as well.
Yeah.
The 3-wheel action.
Yeah, that's where they should probably put a bit of a Nico drop on the backside to stop drifters from chewing that out much more. But I think they just end up pulling. Yeah, that's all gravel trap there anyway, so they probably just pull the gravel back, and it's not a big deal to them anyway there.
No. Which I'm very surprised about because it's a very typical track, so you think they'd take more care of it and actually try and maintain it a bit more.
Yeah, I think that would be more on the outside of the sweeper when the ACA comes and runs an outside line there, and you all tear it up where that outside section there, I would imagine that gravel trap's really deep, so it's not really not too much of a worry, and I think they just push the dirt back into place because it doesn't get displaced that badly. Probably ruins the car more than it ruins the track. So.
Oh yeah, it definitely ruins cars. I've seen a few.
So I guess over the last couple of years, why the decision to go once you had stopped doing 8AGP and moved everything over to the 13? Was the decision to go towards DCA rather than other series with more commercial time and all that sort of stuff? Why that decision?
I think we're kind of over the full name sponsor events where you don't really get a fair chance. From what rumours we had with High Tech, it was getting to the stage where you know, if you went over there, you weren't going to get inside the top 16, no matter who you were. So we found the DCA was better for us. You know, we go over there, we get more track time. It's kind of worth the money. We still have a chance of winning the event. But that was back in 15, 16, where obviously high tech's gone a bit better with judging and stuff like that. But also at the time, we didn't think we had the car to compete in high tech. You know, back then when we built the Silvia, it still had just a Nismo LSD in it. It had the 5-speed. It still had a 5-speed in it before we went sequential. We had no rear end other than, you know, eBay arms in the rear end, and just like stock-ish slide control arm set up in the car. So we didn't think we had the power, or we kind of had the power, but we didn't have the setup to do a full, like, expensive year high tech, obviously. And we still don't think we have the car. You know, with the SR, it was getting a bit old, and we still feel like we didn't have the power to suit some of the tracks that were doing a high tech. So we still think DCA is the best national event, but there's getting to the stage where, you know, we're keen to do a full series at SA or full series of Vic Drift before we go national again for a while.
Yeah. Why did you feel like the car wasn't good enough? Like, I guess World Time Attack really showed that your car is more than capable of hanging it with the big boys, and, you know, same tyre rule as like a D1NZ and a high tech, and you were no slouch at those events. And if it wasn't for the weather change and stuff like that, I think you were one of the best looking drivers in and out of the car. You know, on that weekend during practice and on, what was it, on Friday when the weather was good. So would you take that, like, if the car was still in one piece now, would it, you know, would you show up to World Time Attack with it how it was last year and go again?
If we didn't have the new motor going, yeah, we'd definitely rock up the same. We'd probably change a couple of things, like maybe more grip in the rear end or more grip in the front end to try and balance the car a bit more. And maybe a wider tyre, just because we were still running just a different compound tyre. We're still running the same tyre, same size tyre that we run in DCA, which is a 235/45. You know, most guys are running a 265/35 or a 285/35. So you know, we knew we were going there at a disadvantage compared to the rest of them. But now we know we can kind of keep up in the dry at least. We'd make a few more refined adjustments if the car was the same, and we'd try and make it so it's dry, or find a wet setup that we can use.
But I guess, did World Time Attack this past year sort of give you that confidence as the dude sitting between the steering wheel and the seat, being like, you know, shit, I'm actually more than capable of this? Because you know, you've got doubts in the car, but then you've shown up in a car that, you know, as you said, wasn't the craziest car by any means out there, and really did put on a show. Does that give you more confidence as a driver that you could show up basically in the same car unchanged? Yes, ideally you'd make refinements and all that sort of stuff, but be like, you know what, shit, I really do stand a good chance in an event like this. Like, are you finally starting to see that you are one of the best guys in the country?
Well, yeah, the World Time was a real big eye-opener for us, because we still thought, you know, we're going invited, but we had low expectations that we're actually going to do well. You know, getting picked from the judges as one of the dark horses, and saying that they could see me in the final was, you know, a big confidence boost. And had a few guys come to me saying, you know, other than Nakamura, you pretty much have the same style as him, and you're probably the one best out there. So, you know, those comments, you know, really goes a long way. You know, as a driver, you know, it puts more confidence in you and puts more confidence in the car to do well. And you actually, as per usual, we did well for what we had. Obviously, we had a few mistakes, which we won't name, but we had some. Still, the highlight for me was following what's his name, the guy on the Boss S13 in the rain. Yeah,
Jace Brown.
Yeah, that was probably the best chase run I've ever done. So to get that out of the weekend, get some of the photos of me pretty much on door with him was pretty cool. So it makes me definitely want to go back next year and see what I could do with this new setup we've got.
Yeah, and considering that track didn't have any walls for you to crunch the back end into in a final or anything silly like that, it was probably better for you.
Well, it wasn't because I spun out.
Well, yeah, I guess you always find the worst time to make the silly mistakes. I think.
Yeah.
I think the last 2 times you've been at Archie, you've made it to like a final or been in like a really strong run, and then somehow managed to find the back of the. You can avoid it all weekend until like push comes to shove, and then you're like, right, let's go a bit deeper.
It happened to me twice last year, in the top 16 or top 8 battle against Dylan Roberts in the 33 door.
Yeah.
Going around the anklet before the sweeper, hit that wall, and then in the final against Dale Campaign, hit that wall going into the second to last corner, again from the previous year. So, it's
you need a full FD crushable rear end in that car.
Yeah, I need to get off the accelerator pedal a bit.
Get too excited in finals.
I get too excited. I just can't help it. I just want to, that photo from the first year. I just want to do that again, but now I didn't want to.
So for anybody who hasn't seen that photo, I'm pretty sure the one you're referring to is the one that's in the dark and then full sparks off the back of the car as it's scraping the wall.
Yeah. That's a pretty cool photo.
Yeah, that year was pretty rowdy once it got wet, and then everybody just started running the walls. My car was already fucked by that stage, so mad.
Tell me about your car. How'd you go on the practice day in your 350?
Yeah, it worked, and I've got bruised knees. So yeah, nothing.
I'm sorry.
Bruised knees.
I got bruised knees from trying to like brace myself in the fucking seat going through the kink.
Okay.
It's the worst. No, it's because I picked up all.
Maybe you don't want to say that on camera, mate. I'm just
No, I got bruised knees because I picked up all the boys in my 350. Haven't you seen the video? I'm Greg, the figure skater.
The figures. I'm the figure of 8.
So yeah, no, it worked. So yeah, if you want to come up to New South Wales and have a drive, the slut car will be around. So.
Oh, I'm surprised you're letting people drive it, let alone the last person blew it up.
Yeah, but I just don't let people from Canberra drive it anymore.
Is that...
Yeah. Well, we sent one to the Northern Territory, and he just, instead of breaking his own shit, he just beat everybody up. And then, yeah, the Asian dude, I'm just not sold on letting him drive it again.
I'll take you over that deal one day.
So,
when I get a chance.
So I guess DCA has given you a few opportunities over the years. The opportunity for World Time Attack, you probably would have got in anyway, but you didn't have to try and ask for an invite because you were placed in the top 3 of the National Series that year, which automatically gave Dale Campaign, yourself, and Nathan Greenhill. You all earned your place in that event. It was good to see you guys all pitted together. I think all running some form of DCA sticker on the car. So DCA has given you opportunities like that. And then the year before, from the season before, or is that from the season before, or both seasons?
Both seasons, yeah.
You've managed to score a drive overseas. So the year before, you headed over to King of Nations and did one of the rounds of King of Europe.
Yep. So King of Nations.
Yeah.
So that was 2017. Went over to Austria for the last round of King of Nations. That was pretty cool. You know, we got to meet some of the coolest guys in Europe driving King of Nations. Some Monster Energy drivers, which was cool. Yeah, that was pretty much a stock standard BMW with a hydro and a lock kit, which was pretty demanding to say the least, but it was fun at least, and it was it was a good experience to get an idea of how different drifting in Europe is compared to, I guess, Australia. And from what I see online, they get crowds of about 15,000 people, and
Wow.
but it is like a pretty much what do you call FDEG? It's a rolling burnout.
You don't think FD's like that?
At least they're close.
No. Okay. All right.
So King of Nation is, well, the first time I went there, they pretty much said, they laid out the course. They said, if this is the fastest way around this course, if you try and cut the course or do anything else, you will not get penalised, but you will pretty much go to the back and you won't get any close. So they pretty much, if you had 1,000 horsepower, you knew you were going to win from the get-go. So it was definitely different to see, from a driver's point of view, how different it is. There's L2, which is kind of close, but not really. And then there's L1, which is like you have 5 car lengths back from the chase driver, most battles. I think it was top 4 that I got to see a car kind of close to another car, but that was about it. So
they run the opposite sort of way, where L1 is the entry level. Is that what you're saying?
No, L1 is the
higher.
Yeah, higher, and L2. So I was going off SA, but yeah, because obviously the higher level have so many different types of cars and power and stuff like that, where L2 is kind of rookies going together. So it's kind of like any L2, it's kind of close, but not really. Where L1 guys, we're allowed to run semis, whatever size tyre you want, whatever power you want. Pretty much I think you could run a tube chassis. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, there was nothing really got excited about me going back, just because, unless I had my own car there was no chance of me actually doing well. But
okay.
Well, and then a year later, got the chance to go to Greece, actually, which is like it was pretty much the total opposite to what it was last year. There was a lot of close battles.
Yep.
They had some big name drivers over there, so they had Daigo. Daigo came over for the event. Nakamura was meant to, but he was sick in hospital, so unfortunately he couldn't make it.
I remember that.
Yeah,
that was weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't even know
Alcohol
what happened.
poisoning?
Yeah. Look, he's a pretty wild guy, so we won't get into that.
He's a bogan. Japanese bogan. Actually,
He's a
most
pretty wild guy.
Japanese drifters,
No, he's a fucking bogan.
He is. Most Japanese drifters are like they're like all the bogan people who do burnouts. Like, it's just weird to go over there, and a lot of people from Australia go to Japan. They think these guys are pretty polite and neat, but then like my impression of them is like most of them are bogans.
I guess you fit in so well in Australia, then, so
yeah.
that's why he's come over a couple of times.
Loves burnouts too.
Loves burnouts too.
Yeah.
So what did you drive in Greece?
It
Right.
was,
Yeah, that thing was cool.
yeah. So I got to drive something a bit different. So there was a pink FC RX-7 convertible, which I think
Left
asked for.
left-hand drive, right-hand drive.
Left-hand drive. Both cars were left-hand
Yeah.
drive.
Engine.
Engine was a blown head gasketed RB25.
So
Oh,
it worked better
on
because
head
of the blown
gasket.
head gasket.
Look, I drove the shit out of it. So, I mean, if it was there, if it was had one, if it didn't have one, it was going to get driven the shit out of. So no, it lasted the event, which was, for what I can say, hopefully it lasted a bit longer, but it lasted me, so I'm pretty happy about that. From the experience of last year or the year before, I decided to go down to L2, so with the lower level guys, just because even though I had about 400 horsepower, it was still not enough to keep up with these guys with 1,000 horsepower, 2E65, gem slick. So, no, but that was a real cool experience. I got to meet, got to be a part of a team. The Tontus Garage. They had a two-car team. The older brother had a Ford Escort Mark 1, sorry, Mark 2 with the quad headlights with a Cosworth motor in it, which is pretty different. I've never seen an Escort with a Cosworth motor drifting before. Especially in Greece where there's not much money. So obviously those cars are very expensive, but obviously he could afford it. But yeah, he had bad trouble that weekend with bending a crank in the practice.
Jesus.
And they pretty much put new bearings in every night and got it going for, I think, made top 16 before spinning out and breaking a wheel on entry. But it's a sad day. So the sad day was practicing qualifying. Got a heap of laps in, which was kind of cool. But unfortunately, I had to buy some more tyres because the tyres that got lent to me I ran out of. So I bought some more tyres for about three.
Head gasket mustn't have been too bad then.
No, we put the boost up a bit.
Just make up for the boost that's leaking out the side of the fucking block.
Yeah, well, it came on about, it was like an RB20. It came on about 4.5, 5 grand, and straight to 7. So, no, it did the job. I can't say it. Qualified first in L2 and ended up, if I've done like top tier, I would have qualified 5th overall, which was pretty damn cool. Driving a borrowed car, qualifying 5th, a couple of points behind Daigo Saito in his 1,000 horsepower SC400.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's impressive.
Yeah, so Sunday we made it to top 4. Unfortunately, in my lead run, I straightened a tiny little bit coming out of a sweeper. So the course went. So you come around a short sweeper, top of 4th, and then you flick it back. So flick it back on the left-hand side, and you go along pretty much a straight into like another 45-degree corner, about 4th gear flat. And unfortunately, I strained a little bit and reinitiated to go into a hairpin. So I went down to a hairpin, so back to 3rd, and then it went into so like a little slalom, so like a left, right, left, under, and then that was the course. Yeah, so what really struggled with me, what struggle I had struggled with was also the left-hand drive's not too bad. But what made it hard for me was it had a BMW gearbox in it. So for me, where first gear is second for most cars in Australia. So second, and third is second, fourth is third, fifth is fourth. So top of fourth, going back to third is like fifth back to fourth in a normal car, which I struggled to do with the handbrake flapping about that much in the car, which unfortunately made me lose top four. But ended up getting third place overall, which was pretty damn cool. You know, first international or second international event getting third in L2, which is, you know, was cool for the team because they asked me to come back next year and drive their pro car. So, because they got, or giving shit to the guy because he didn't qualify any good in the pro car.
So is that happening this year?
No, that was I knew they were joking.
That's a shame.
That's a cruel joke,
isn't it? Yeah, no, I couldn't afford to go to overseas twice this year, which is pretty exciting. Going to, I don't know, not many people know, but we'll be going to Drift Games Extreme. Well, I'm guessing the Extreme series, one of the rounds coming soon. Not sure which round which they're doing. Luke Fink is trying to sort it out now, but I'm locked in for a round of Drift Games Extreme or National.
Well, hopefully you get Extreme. Do you know what sort of car they're working on, or are they looking at putting you in one of, I can't even think of it, Brian's personal cars, or are they trying to sort something else?
I think that I think they're trying to get me in the same car that Dale drove last year, which is the 180.
Okay.
So which is what I'm used to, except for Wisefab. So it's an SR making 450 horsepower, which is roughly the same as what I'm used to. It just has Wisefab compared to my Power Match stuff.
Yeah. So it won't break.
Oh, come on, man. I've had my Power Match stuff for 7 years now, and I love it. Can't get enough of it.
Because that's why it's in the front, not in the back.
and now it's going to break the next time you drive the car.
Don't worry, I've got spares. My sister's got Power Max. So.
I've got spares. My sister has it in her car. You know, that's such a brother-sister relationship when it's like, yeah, my spares are in her car and I'm just going to rip it out when I need it.
Well, I bought them, so it's only fair if I break one.
Yeah, so when you're facing off in the Matt Harvey Drift Tasmania series and you're facing each other in the finals and you're like, hey, I broke mine, I'm stealing yours. You can 3-wheel up to the line, girl.
Yeah. Just put bare knuckle in, she'll be right.
But then she'll be off on her trip to FD from where your parents have been over there scouting anyway, so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She'll be in one of those suitcases. She's small enough to get one.
But, yeah, because I know. So Dale ended up turning down the trip to IDC because he'd already done the one trip to IDC and decided to go with the paid holiday to the US to just go and thrash the crap out of a car at.
I think a Mustang.
Well, I think the Mustang's long gone now.
So it must be his Corvette, maybe.
The Corvette's broken, as far as I'm aware, but he has a V8 S14 currently.
Doesn't he have a SR, like a SR22 S13 as well that he bought?
Nah, the S14, nah, he's traded that or sold that for something else.
I can't keep up with him.
Nah.
I don't watch videos.
Yeah, if anybody watches Lone Star Drift,
I don't even know who you're talking about.
Aaron Losey, who runs Lone Star Drift, is he's like watching he should start a series called like Extreme Trading or something, and he just he buys something because he's like,
yeah, but
it's a really
good
good
offer for people with that status. So.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is a really good deal, and it's like a full blown like FD spec SR20 S14, and then he never gets it running properly, and then just trades it for something that actually works because he's like, oh, this one's too much effort. but then he's still got like a bunch of other cars sitting there. So at this
Oh,
stage,
God.
I hope he
That's
gets
when you
the
have too much money.
I hope he gets the Corvette running because it'd be cool to see Dale just go over there and thrash something so basic and just have a mad time. But so Dale turned down the IDC trip, so you get the IDC trip, um,
Yeah.
or Drift Games trip now.
Games trip. Yeah.
Were you expecting Dale to turn down the IDC one, or and sort of
No,
expecting?
I knew he was going to go to America.
Yeah.
I think that's more his style, where it's like full, just like extended weekend, just have fun. Go to America. He's already been to Ireland, so go to America, be different again, and make a holiday out of it. So spend a month over there. Well, that's what I did with Europe. Spend a month over there and just go around and see different things and
So I guess
experience.
what's your expectation of your island trip then?
My expectation is, well, obviously I'm going to beat Dale's score. Go over there.
Because what
obviously you're going to do
Dale missed out on qualifying by like
one.
Yeah, like maybe
He got
like
33rd.
yeah, like half a
Yeah.
not
That
quite a 34,
sucks.
but like half a chalk line, like off the track.
Yeah.
And in a series that competitive, and not to mention like the biggest weekend of the season for them too, like where every car actually shows up for that event because it was Buddy Jap Fest
And
or
all
whatever.
and also some of the drift masters guys are running he's running there as well. So I think they had like 50 or 60 drivers in that Saturday, and then another 50 in drift masters.
So
or whatever.
But if you get to do Drift Games Extreme, I think they've only just got over the 32 quota for the season. I think it's only like maybe 34 or 36 guys just to give them that buffer of if people break and that sort of stuff. So yeah, that should be good. And I expect you to come home with a trophy or to break that streak or whatever, because just going.
Yeah, well, obviously got to be the number one Australian. Can't get Michelin or the E-Fame, Australian E-Fame.
I wonder if I know there's talk of him trying to get over there to do, because I think they've got their roster and then they have a few guests per round, and I think there's talk of him trying to get over there and do maybe a round or so, because he's still got the car over there. Do you have any ideas roughly what round you might be doing?
Well, if it's the same as Dale, probably the last round, which is Jap Fest.
Back at Mondello.
Yeah. That would probably be the best time. So I can get organised and book flights and everything.
Yeah. Maybe
money doesn't come from.
Maybe you get the Mustang.
Oh God, I don't want to run into the crowd or anything, so I'm good, thanks.
I'm trying to look up and see where these rounds are. The docks one would be cool, but I don't know if they're doing the docks anymore. I think they're still doing the docks, but I think that's early. But that's only like a second gear track or something like that, so.
Yeah, full. I don't want something walls. That would be.
I think Mondello they put walls in funky places, so that's all on you, mate.
Yeah.
You're definitely not doing round 2 because it's 11th and 12th of May, so you might need to get your shit together if you're getting over there for that. And that's the one that's on the wharf at the ferry terminal.
Yeah. What's the first round? Like, where's that located?
So, I think my dates were right. This weekend at Mondello Park.
Mondello?
Yeah.
Cool.
And then second round is on the docks. Third round is back at Mondello. Fourth round is that car park sort of event at the racehorse track in August, and then the last round's at Mondello, which is part of Jap Fest and sort of when everything finishes up for the year.
Obviously, I'd love to do Mondello no matter what.
Yeah,
section, it would be
yeah. Then it's just like
just
do the iconic sort of thing.
iconic. Yeah, I mean the car park would be cool, but from a driver's perspective and trying to care for a car, if you could say that, running walls is not the greatest because you obviously borrow a car, you pay for damages, and you carry some spare cash out there, but you don't have thousands of euro. If something goes wrong and you crash into a wall, or someone crashes into you and you break some suspension parts or something, and you're there broke.
Yeah, I can understand I can understand you having to pay if you like completely bury the car and that sort of stuff. But if it's especially for drift games extreme, I would hope that they'll sort of look after the guest guys that they've brought over a little
Yeah.
bit when it comes to like if you've ripped a rear quarter or a rear bar or something off, surely they're not going to be like, hey, that rear bar was X amount. Like I sort of look at body panels like tires, they're consumables, they're not part of the car. If you rip a coilover out of a car, then yeah, you can pay for the coilover, but shit, it's a rear bar.
Definitely not the case in Europe, mate, where if you crack a front bar, it costs you like $200 to pay. You pretty much have to buy a brand new front bar.
I'm not sure in Ireland they'll be as anal at
No.
you as that, but
No, I got quoted.
you got to remember, it's Greece,
$2,000 to No, in Austria I got quoted $2,000.
Same shit.
To,
Financial crisis.
If the motor blew up, it was going to cost me $2,000 to fix it.
In a standard LS, that makes a whole bunch of sense.
No, it was a BMW V8.
Ah, okay.
So 4-litre V8, which I don't understand how it would be my fault if the motor blew up. Like if I was on limiter the whole time, yeah. But like if I lost impression or blew right out of the motor, obviously it's not my fault. But I still had to pay €2,000 to do it.
Nah, just at that stage, just leg it.
Yeah.
Just leg it.
And come back. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Obviously Nathan Greenhill's going to King of Europe.
Or is that still around, or is it? It's rebranded now, right?
King of Nash. Yeah, it's oh god, what is it? King of no, it's not King.
King of yeah, it's like
Drift Kings or something like that.
Yeah.
Drift Kings. Yeah. So Drift Kings.
Yeah.
Don't know which round he'd be doing. Probably the last one, like mine.
Yeah.
Don't know if he's driving a pink RX-7. I don't think it suits him, to be honest.
Not sure it suits
what
you
sort
either.
Of car
but...
suits him then?
Don't know. Yeah.
Just not the pink RX-7. It was cool.
Yeah.
Convertible
it was cool. Yeah.
Powered. I think I prefer a rotary, but
I want the whole show, but no, RB25, eBay, everything, shiny, but
yeah, from some of our fan videos, you'd think that sort of car would be more suited to me. So,
figure skater.
So, yeah. But I guess without DCA offering those sort of opportunities, is it something you would have pursued yourself, being like, try and ask people overseas to, hey, can I borrow your car and pay rental fees and stuff like that? Or do you think without DCA sort of giving people access to that sort of stuff, it's not something you would have ever thought about bothering to go and do?
Probably not thought about doing, just because borrowing a car is a lot of money, especially if something breaks or you fly over there, something breaks. You pay for flights, you pay for accommodation, you pay for everything, and if you get 2 laps and the car breaks, you wasted $10,000 getting over.
How much of the running cost do you have to contribute to?
So we had to with the RX-7, I had to pay an extra €1,000. It was about $1,500 at the time, because
so that was for the tires or just like general sort of things.
So that was for car costs, to get the car out there, fuel, and I think it was 8 tires a lot for the weekend.
Okay. So it's not too. It wasn't too bad then.
No, it was
For a
obviously
different country.
Luke had to pay most of it for car hire, accommodation, which we ended up paying for ourselves because it was across the border and we couldn't get the car across the border. So we ended up staying in Greece instead of some other country that I've never heard of before.
It's a bit far from Tasmania, isn't it?
Well, we had to drive. Well, the track was in Greece, but 45 minutes away was a border, and they booked us a hotel on the other side of the border, which at the time we didn't know about until we got to the track saying, "Hey, where are we booked in? Oh, you booked here, on the other country. Oh, your car doesn't go over there. Oh, well that sucks. Book your own accommodation." So we booked our own accommodation in Greece and stayed out of jail, try not to cross the border, and
Was it not an
and
EU? Was it not an EU country?
no. So with our car permit, we were only allowed to stay in Greece. We weren't allowed to cross country.
Yeah.
Well, it's got to be frustrating.
It was, yeah. It was. I think it was an extra €200 for 2 nights or 3 nights, so $200 or $300 extra euro. Another €300 for extra tires, and obviously we pay a little bit extra for different dates, for flights and stuff. But it worked out in the end. It was a pretty good event. It was different again. It was
How much prize money did you win?
none.
Fuck. Sounds like other
No,
series.
no.
Sounds like other series here.
No prize money. Just champagne, which I had to wear my other race suit for the World Time. It still stunk of champagne.
That's what washing machines are for. I don't know if you have them down there off the southern
Dry
coast.
cleaner, mate. If you have a race suit, you have to get it dry cleaned.
Nah, fuck that. Just put it in the washing machine. It'll be fine.
That's why I have race suits, and you wear hoodies, mate.
Nah. I wear a single layer race suit, mate, because from my pro days.
Are they what? Are they kart which are not allowed in like camps events, like for drifting? They're not fire retardant or something like that.
Yeah, but that's like guys who show up with bolting cages not bolted into cars and are still allowed to drive. So.
Touche.
So.
Touche.
I'm not sure there are rules, Matt, and then there are rules.
There are rules. There are rules for some guys, and there's a rule for others.
Yeah. See the Harveys cross all their T's and dot all their I's, and so
because
it
costs so much to get over there. We might do the whole thing.
So you're always done properly, but a lot of other people, halfway is good enough, and because numbers are low, you're in anyway.
Yeah. Oh, brake lights don't work. Should be right. Just make one work.
Yeah, the one on the front, because that's the important one. Because it's for the backward entries.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when headlights are facing headlights, you can actually see the guy braking.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. The Nakamura style.
all the important bits and pieces.
Oh God.
Oh Jesus. Not where I thought that was gonna go.
No.
Shouldn't do that. That's not good stuff. You should do the right thing.
Yeah. Always
the right thing. Then you don't waste money getting to an event and going, "Oh, sorry, mate, you can't get in." Oh, you travelled all that distance? No, well, not my fault. You can't follow the rules.
Well, and considering
it sucks when the cams guy also doesn't follow the rules as well. So
yeah.
I guess.
But the
do the right thing, cams guy.
But some series flip-flop between who they're using for bloody insurance anyway, so it's hard to keep up when they've gone from one insurance company and it's like, oh yeah, no, you're good with that sort of thing, and then you've shown up the next time and it's like, where's your logbook? And you're like, this is the same series, and it's like the difference between round 2 and round 3, and now you're asking for a logbook where the first 2 rounds you didn't need a logbook, and why do you now
Yeah.
want this?
What series is that?
I'm not sure what you're talking
I
about.
don't know. Yeah.
Because I don't have a logbook for my car. None of my cars have logbooks.
Yeah, well, some
Mm.
series are pushing towards that, but they've been trying to push towards that for years. So some guys have,
Yeah.
and some guys haven't. So, but again, there's no strength in numbers at the moment, so it's really hard to push towards that sort of stuff. So, um, yeah,
Yeah, it's well. I should start reading rules now, shouldn't I? Other series.
yeah,
Uh,
I don't think, yeah, and I don't think
Well,
your car wouldn't have too many troubles, except now with all the new cage rules and all that sort of stuff, you'd probably find that.
it's
Which,
registered.
yeah, yours
It's
is,
registered.
yeah, okay, then you're okay.
It just needs a logbook.
Yeah, it needs the logbook inspection and all that sort of stuff. Then you don't need all
Extra
the
couple.
don't need all the crazy gussets and all yeah, all the gussets and crazy shit that they're asking for now under the new cage rules for by cams. So
So do you have to have gussets or just like? Because there's some like obviously cages where they weld it to the actual body instead of like have
no,
a really thin
so
stuff.
yeah, so that you can weld the cage to the body, but they started wanting people to add between wherever there was a welded joint between
side
bars, you had to
protrusion.
nah, so any weld had to be sort of uh yeah, gusseted to the other one. So like if you run a crossbar and then people were making
Yeah,
those nice rounded gussets, even where
yeah.
where that bar will weld to the upright, they want like a little one in there and all that sort of stuff. So
You're gonna have to start cutting roofs off cars to get to some of this shit.
yeah, but
Like,
why they
and
I don't know. That's what they sort of started to push towards. But
mate,
luckily yours
these
is already
fabricators, these fabricators aren't gymnastics people. They can't flex the body around bloody trying to get to these holes.
what did I see? I
I've,
saw.
I've seen I've seen some fabricators and they can hardly get in some cars. So
Haven't you noticed most of the guys who do roll cages are really short dudes?
yeah, I've seen that. And then there's some guys that just too late. They just fit their bodies in wherever they can.
Uh, I saw a 15 floating around the net the other day. I think it was in Indonesia for sale or something, and it was a S15 that they had just molded the whole outside body of it in fiberglass, and then chopped the whole body other than the floor pan off and just lifted it off, and that's when they did their cage and stuff like that. And then it's got just a fiberglass shell to go over the top, and it's just like that's the point you would almost need to get to get to some of the worlds and stuff. So
When are we going to start seeing that though? When is the next drift series where you can have fiberglass shells, kind of not well, kind of like NASCAR, but also speedway guys, where they just have aluminium or fiberglass shells where you just put on and off to
Is
save.
supercars at that level yet?
supercars, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like a what do they call it? It's a homologated
Yeah,
skeleton,
but
and then
I haven't really watched it in a long
no,
time.
no,
Like ever since they dropped the V8 part of it.
yeah. So it's
I don't think I've ever watched it since.
yeah, but that's homologated in regards to the the internal skeleton of it, and then you've got to use like certain bits of factory stuff that are decided by supercars and the manufacturer itself, and then the rest is sort of or composite stuff that's supposed to make it look like whatever car it's supposed to be, and then you end up with that Mustang. So
Yes. Such a good solution for
uh,
that Mustang. Anyway, no. The point was like, if the supercars took that long to get to this point, then drifting's got a long time before it gets to that point
yeah,
as well. Like
that
everything's
is
sort of follows the same sort of schedule as it, progresses in popularity or like competitiveness.
but
whatever.
I think that really comes down to a series just opening themselves up and being like, go for it, like show up and do it, because most guys aren't. Like I think King of Nations is still, or if like whatever it is still pretty open, and that's why Daigo was running that with the 1000 JZX. But then he's moved that onto RDS because they're a bit more lenient with all that sort of stuff, like mid-mounted engines and all that business. But I think it's really up to a series just to be like, and I don't think it won't be FD, and I don't think it'll
No, it
ever
definitely
be.
won't be FD.
It won't be a major series. It would be up to like a DCA or a D1NZ or something to be like, you know what, fuck it, just run what you brung and put whatever, you can only run up to a 265, but run what you brung sort of thing and go for it.
Like a sports sedan,
Yeah,
like the tube.
Yeah, but that would be DCA, because DCA's thing is a driver's comp. So it's not about like building a crazy car and driving shit. It's about driving good in like driving awesome in like a good car.
but if you wanted to show up in it, then I think they should just be like, go show up in it, because most of the time you guys who are good drivers, like your Dale Campaigns and your Matt Harveys, aren't going to go and spend a bucket load of money trying to build a fancy sort of thing when they could show up in, well, both the boys show up in pretty basic cars that are majority of the car is still there, except for when Matt puts it through a wall at Archie.
It gets a bit shorter, yeah.
Yeah, the rest of the car is still there, and they're walking away from people still. So, somebody might do it purely as a project, or a Nigel Petrie might be like, yeah, I'm going to show up and compete in it because I can.
Well, yeah, he's done that at the Odyssey, or not Odyssey Cup, about Tontaki his Ute, was the event that they had at the South Circuit.
Yes.
He brought his Ute and then that shit itself, so he bought the 180.
Yeah. But then you see how expensive it gets to run it, because he hit the wall at Summernats, and then it just gets expensive to run because custom parts and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
but then someone with lots of money could build a car like this, but
that's what I'm saying.
Like they want to show it off,
but that's what I'm saying.
Event there.
But that's why, like, I know from listening to Maximum Driftcast, speaking to the owners of FD, like, FD's not going to go that direction, not for a while anyway.
Well, there's not enough reward for the investment.
Yeah, 100%.
And there's not enough people to invest that much to get the reward as well.
Yeah. So
it's not just a single person thing. It'll be a collaborative effort.
But that's why I think in a smaller series it's worth doing, because a dude with money, unless he's going to do like an Adam LZ or something like that and be driving 1 or 2 times a week and actually learning to drive really well, can't just go and build the craziest, lightest drift car, doing full tube frame and then show up and win. He's got to match that with a whole lot of training as well. So
but you look at things here, and there are occasions where people just build stupid cars. They win the drag race and they do a burnout, and then they win the battle.
But you still got to not crash the car, or you got to stay on the track.
Yeah, it means that you just have to be good enough to stay on the track, and that's it.
But most
it doesn't mean you're a good driver. It means like you won the drag race.
Yeah, but who cares if they're winning that sort of thing?
Well,
yeah, but there's also people
where criteria is winning, for, like the gapping them. So I've heard that said before, like you gap them, and that's it. Like there's too much of a gap, this guy wins.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, drivers will not stick with that sort of series if they're unhappy with the results. Like, simple as that.
What if it's televised?
Did the dude that we're talking to not say that he moved away from the commercial style series because of the way results were going, and said, fuck it, I'm going to go to the drivers series instead?
I don't know who you're talking about. This is all like hypothetical.
And then he's gone and won 2 trips overseas and an invite to World Time Attack Challenge, and then didn't fucking embarrass himself there, even though he drives in Drift Crash Australia, where you only run street tires and nobody can learn to drive well.
Was this all hypothetical? What I was talking about was hypothetical.
Mine was hypothetical too.
But there is, like I said, there is series other than not drifting. There is series where they run tube chassis, and it's still quite competitive.
But
obviously with speed,
but everybody's running the same. Like, it's still homologated. Like, everybody's got to run that.
Yeah, but I mean, you could do that. I mean, look at Drift Games National, where they have to run the exact same tyre.
Yeah.
They've all gone. Like, that's the first time in a series where the same tyre is against all the competitors.
But building putting a cage in a 13, or picking up AU Falcon and being able to compete in DCA is still cheaper than building a.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to be cheap. I'm saying if it's like if it could be like a world national series where run all the same stuff, but you can run like maybe a different motor, but you can run the same rear end, the same gearbox, blah blah blah. But it's more about driver skill than anything else.
See, I think
without being exciting to some people.
But see, I think, well, for sure it would be exciting, but I don't think there's any commercial value in it. So I think if that had happened, if drifting had sort of was 10 years earlier, I guess, like if it peaked 10 years earlier before the GFC, then
I think if it started progressing,
I
not,
would,
not
yeah,
peak,
yeah, yeah, like that's what I mean from
yeah.
a commercial standpoint. If it was
Yeah.
10 years earlier, I think it would have gone that direction and it would have peaked at, in that position, the same as NASCAR did. I think the
Yeah.
timeline would have fallen exactly the same as NASCAR, even if it was just a fraction earlier. Even though NASCAR has been around for way longer, but that was just the progression of the time period because all of a sudden that's when commercialization of everything got massive. And drifting sort of copped the very end of that. But that bubble's gone, and marketing now is very, very different. Like the fact that a series as big as FD in the biggest that will want to, probably I might be wrong, but I think second biggest economy behind China in the world. They can't even go across the border to Canada because the sponsors of the cars are like, well, we don't want we don't want to spend our money marketing up there because that's not part of our marketing region. So we recommend that you
Yeah, but
sort of
that's
stick down here.
American. Everything like the World Series or World Championship
No,
is American.
that's got nothing to do with it. It's to do purely with the marketing dollars. Like the sponsors are like,
Yeah, that's
not
it.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
because
that's
they don't consider anything outside of America
no. It's
or
because
the States.
their marketing budgets are regionalized. So as soon as they're crossing borders, it starts to cross borders with their marketing campaigns. So it's not, it doesn't work for them, and that's how most marketing is now. Like I'm pretty sure Red Bull doesn't run much in the way of New Zealand stuff because Mad Mike is Red Bull New Zealand, and that's where majority of their money goes. Yes, he then is global face for a lot of their stuff, but that's their marketing budget gone. So the fact that it's not a huge global economy with that stuff anymore. The same, like, when F1 was really at its peak and it had all the cigarette sponsorship that was, multinational stuff and all that. When now it's back to the manufacturers and stuff like that. And the fact that even a Formula One struggles at times to have, it's also because it's so goddamn expensive. But even just look at the fact that Indy had to scale back coming back out to Australia and all that because it just wasn't feasible for them anymore from a marketing point of view. So I think if drifting was 10 years earlier, I think all that would have happened. But I think if drifting becomes sustainable, I think that's where we'll end up because everybody will have written off every 13, 14, 15. No car manufacturer is going to keep making rear-wheel drive, you know, petrol cars and all that sort of stuff. So so I think that's sort of where we'll head. Because wasn't there the fabricators over in the States that were doing, I think they were like called the Coyotes or something like that, and they were basically a tube framed S chassis of some variety.
And you remember GK Tech putting up a
yeah,
post once about making a tube chassis.
yeah, but I think that was,
chassis
but I think they got that built overseas. That was built in the States.
in China.
No, I think it was built in the States.
Really? Okay. I don't know. I don't think I'd follow their stuff. So.
So I think that's potential where we'll end up. But it wouldn't surprise me if we end up more on a Corvette type frame than a S chassis because they'll pick the best, the best sort of base that already exists and be like, all right, that's what we're going to do it all off. So
Corvette, the I-beam, is that the one?
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Do you reckon Corvette is the best drift chassis from factory at the moment?
Yeah, I think so. From what it's seeming over in the US and um, the way they're handling and all that, I think the S chassis is still the most refined in terms of because it's just been around for so long, so people are able to make them work easier. But I think
Like from factory, just put a steering lock in it and away you go. Like if
I
you could
don't
put
even
any steering lock.
I don't even think they need a steering lock kit from the little bit of research I did. You need different tie rod ends, and you need to drill a new hole in the knuckle.
Oh yeah, I've heard that from drift cast, maximum drift cast.
Yeah, it's something like
Experience.
that. Yeah, so that's like that's crazy, really. Like, um, and already good gearbox, good motor, good diff, off you go. Like, so just
So
expensive.
do you reckon that's the future FD? There's going to be more of like Corvettes, Camaros, Mustangs, not many S chassis,
There
maybe more
already
Toyota.
there isn't many S chassis really.
No,
I think there's
They're running out, I think.
3 or 4.
well, there's Packard and
Oh no, sorry.
Hardy
Sorry.
Botches,
Yeah, sorry. Like 5 or 6 maybe out of
yeah,
30. But yeah,
Alec Honda,
two of them were in the
uh,
top three. So,
yeah, well, that's very true.
but
And who won?
yeah, yeah, an S chassis won. That's what I'm saying. But there were
Yeah.
two of them were in the top three. So, uh, but I think again, like it's just that platform that's been around the longest, and those guys have had the most time with it. So it's that's sort of that's sort of why that is. But I think Matt Field's car this year will prove more and more. Sadly, the other two guys driving Corvettes at this stage, Dirk is a good driver.
Getting better,
No,
but
he's a good driver, but just his car is not nearly as crazy as Matt's is with parts and support and all that sort of stuff. And then the Brazilian guy has got all the good stuff that Matt has in his and all the fancy new PBM stuff. But yeah, this guy's used to driving on a 235 street tire or something like that, and then he stepped up to the biggest tire, drift tire series in the world, and
then I'm just to a wall.
yeah, um, well,
That was weird.
it's the problem with drift cars though. If with those big cars with big grip, as soon as it doesn't, if you don't get the back loose, they don't turn. Like
No.
they just don't turn. So
And that's why warming up your tyres before an actual battle is so crucial these days. You know, with you have to at least warm your fronts up to get some grip out of them, otherwise, because the competition is so fierce these days.
yeah,
It takes a tiny little mistake, like you understeer or you don't want to be really properly and they slide out a bit too much than you want it to, and you're over. It's like that.
yeah.
So it's come to the stage where the more stuff you do before the battle, the better it is. You have a chance of winning it.
Maybe they just need to introduce tire blankets.
Yeah,
Ah, no.
tire blankets with prize money so you can afford the tire blanket for the next event.
Well, but FD could own the tire blankets, and just as you show up to grid for your battle, like they've only got a certain number of tire blankets, because there's a good couple of minutes that you're on grid before the next battle, the battle in front of you is done, so they could just warm up your tires for you, and everybody just chips in and shares them.
But then there's so much other stuff they could do before that though.
Yeah, that is true, but then at least it's
Like
an FD. But did you I found it interesting. Like, I'm not a huge F1 person, but Formula One this year introduced it to make the tire blankets way too hot now. So the car is the tires are past optimum temperature when the tire blankets come off, and the first part just after the tire blankets are off, the car isn't optimum. Like they're way too hot, and they actually need the tire temperature to come down before they're at their peak, rather than being at their peak when those blankets come off. So, but also they can't send them out on cold tires because then they just again understeer really badly and crash. so they can't just send them out cold, but they send them out still not in their peak condition. But I'm talking so that we're not flogging half a set of tires in a burnout box trying to get tires warm and then being like, I don't know why my tires can't last 2 laps. And it's like, yeah, because you killed half the tread in the burnout box.
Well, yeah, there's some people get a bit excited in that box. I've seen they just do donuts left and right.
How much?
Obviously, the guys.
How much is that sort of style of drive? Like, sorry, I shouldn't say driving because EG will be like, it's just a burnout. How much does that style of series interest you? Like, if you had the opportunity to get a team together and have the budget, like, does that, because FD now is super techy. Like, a lot of it isn't. It's not won and lost anymore so much between the steering wheel and the seat, but there's so much more that goes into it now to actually get you on top. Does that sort of stuff interest you as a driver,
Oh yeah,
or more interest you as a spectator?
No, both really. I'd love to go over there and just watch around and see some new cool tech that I might have not thought of in a drift car. They do so many different things in so many different chassis that you might go, oh, that might actually work in my car. But from a driver's point of view, it's like a race car driver being in F1. It's like the pinnacle of drifting for most guys. D1 GP not being that great anymore. From my point of view, anyway.
Fuck, EG's getting all the butt hurt tonight.
Why?
We should get Matt Harvey on every week because he talks shit about.
You haven't even been listening to what I've been saying.
Nah, he's good. He's been talking shit about D1 he's been talking up FD. So EG, back in your box, man.
The drift box.
D1 SL's always been the driver's comp.
Oh yeah, street legal. Yeah, I mean G1,
Oh,
D1 GP.
All right, EG, back in your box. Stop talking. We're talking to Matt here.
FD from a driver point of view, you can still see people losing a battle, but just because they stuffed up on entry or whatever. It's still techie, but at the end of the day, what national competition isn't techie? Like you go there, with a good car, you're good to win. But when you go against 32 other guys that have good cars, it comes down to setup, good team, good car. But you also got to drive the thing. Like you can have all the good car and good setup, but if you can't drive the damn thing, there's no point even entering.
Yeah, but I'm talking like the fact that sort of once you make your top 16, it's sort of those guys are timing burnouts to know how long they can actually afford to do a burnout for how long their tyres are going to last, how long they need to do the burnout to get their tyres to X temperature. Even, what was it now, like 6 years ago when I went to the Irwindale final and Vaughan Gittin Jr.'s wife standing there on the bank at Irwindale with a speed gun and a notebook and writing down everybody's speed as they came around the bowl and that sort of stuff. Like, it's pretty extreme, and yeah, guys are making mistakes, but then how much do you attribute those mistakes to stuff that we don't know about that, all we see from the outside is a mistake. Oh shit, driver, or they fucked it up, but oh shit, we did a burnout for 10 seconds too long. Or
yeah,
like that,
but that's like any Formula motorsport, like the V8s. For example, V8 supercars, you can set up the car wrong, but at the end of the day, if you're a good driver, you can still drive around it.
Yeah, it's just hard to drive around it for as long. Where drifting, we can get away with it. Maybe something being a little bit wrong because you can't get gapped too far over a couple of 100 meters. But when you've got to drive, 160 something laps at Bathurst, then you're now 18 laps down or something like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it definitely, I would 100% in a heartbeat do it. I love that comp stuff. I love being in competition. Well, I like being in competition and also driving. So I love competition as much as I love driving any day, anywhere. So it would excite me to go over there and do something like that. Just like drift games, go into Europe. I might not stand a chance, But at the end of the day, you know, if as long as I get to compete with some of the best guys in the world, you know, that would put a smile on my face and make it worth it.
Do you sort of live for that drug of competition though? Like if sort of all drift competition within Australia ended today and all we had was like Matsuris and stuff like that, would that do you think you'd still have like those really bad hunger pains for competition?
Um, oh, I drive every event I can, whether it's a competition or practice day or a Matsuri. Yeah, competition's hard because you know I guess I strive to be the best that I can be, and being a competition, I know if a guy beats me, I need to push more and to be better. Where if I'm driving a practice day, I can just do the same thing over and over again and be cool. And go, yep, that's kind of cool. Where competition, it's still a learning curve. You know, every competition you learn something new, with your driving skill, or you change something in the car and you go, oh shit, why haven't I done that for you? Like, why didn't I do that years ago? So, I mean, it's high, I guess high risk, high reward with anything.
And but you love that side of like some people like for me I'm pretty competitive, but now with the drifting I sort of haven't competed for a couple of seasons, so I've sort of started to lose that. But when I first sort of moved into it, I'd just come from the competitive background, so I was like, the competition was what drove me and wanted me to do more of it. Where now I'm a little bit more chill about it, but I'm sure once I get settled again, I'm gonna be like, all right, let me back at it because that's sort of my nature. Where some people sort of your EGs and some other guys are just like, no, I just like to drive around and thrash. No, I know EG's competitive. He's just scared of people who are going to ride his car up on him. But there are heaps of guys who are just like super not competitive or just don't handle competition, and it makes them feel sick to the point that they can't function. Where it seems like guys like yourself sort of that fear and that those nerves drive you harder and make you want to do more and make you sort of go into that invincible sort of zone.
Oh, I'd 100% just suggest, even if you don't like competition and you just want to drive, just drive a competition. Like, at the end of the day, you can still do the practicing in the morning and still do the qualifying, and it's still a drift day at the end of the day, but you get to experience something new.
But you get to be beaten by Matt Harvey at the Matt Harvey DCA Tassie Series.
Hey, mate, that was me for years. I used to get knocked the first 2 or 3 years. I used to get knocked out of the top 16, and I go, okay, what can I do to change this? What can I improve on? What can I do to
change
stop
the judges?
Doing this?
Change the judges.
You mean pay the judges?
No, just change the judges.
Whatever works.
That's the attitude of some people. Just change the judges.
Just change the judges.
Change the judges.
My driving skill is good. I mean, why are they marking me down so much? I mean, they tell me one thing, but I just can't do it. Like, this is the way I do it. This is how it should be. But no, just if you like drifting, do any type of drifting.
Yeah.
Competition, non-competition. At the end of the day, it's still a drift day. You still get to drift with your mates. I mean, the best thing about drifting is, well, for me, is driving with my mates and against them. I love to drive against like guys that I like, guys that still up and coming, but I can see their future with them. They just need that little bit of push to go, hey, just do this and this and this, and in no time you're going to be as good as you may, if not better. So, it's good. Some people don't like competition because, I'm never going to be any good at competition. But at the end of the day, it's still drifting, and you never know. You could be the next Bo Yates or Luke Fink or anybody that,
Harvey.
Maybe. But,
maybe.
But, drifting is fun in all aspects. I enjoy competition. I drive practice days. I drive anything and everything I possibly can. So, I guess I get the most out of everything. That's how I see it as the best way of doing it. More practice, obviously, more practice the better.
I guess where do you see it taking you? Like, would in a couple of years' time, provided FD is sustainable, would it be something that you would look at ever trying to make a program yourself that you could make work over there, or is that sort of thing completely sort of outside of where you've thought that you'd bother taking it, or have you sort of thought offshore at all?
Definitely thought of it when we had the Corolla. Um, with back in AGP days when there's no DCA, we thought, well, there's really not much national competition going around in Australia. We thought, we thought D1Z, but it was just you pretty much have to be there with the car the whole year to try and unlock. You have to trust guys to keep your car safe. No one's going to steal parts off it. No one's going to do this, do that, do that. You got pretty much if you send your car away, you got to have someone trusting to look after it, or pay someone to look after it, pay for it, storage. So it is a bit hard. We definitely have looked into it. I mean, even going Ireland would be an option. Sending the car to Ireland.
Really, you'd do that? You'd consider that sort of one? Like I know, like I would imagine for Mitch, one of his biggest costs was purely travel.
But that's if I was going to do that, I'd have to live over there.
Yeah.
Get a job, and live over there for 12 months or however how long.
Yeah.
Just like what's his name, the taxi guy, where he went to to UK. He had to live over there and try and make some money so he could race.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to be racing every weekend, but at the same time, once a month, it's going to cost thousands upon thousands of dollars, especially that level of competition to have a decent car and do well.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I said, with sponsors as well, how region they are, you'd have to find new sponsors over in Ireland. You can't really carry sponsors.
Yeah, I'm not sure Mum and Dad's tire shop would be able to help you too much on the other side of the planet.
No. Well, realistically, we have priced up how much it would cost to send the car there just for fun, and it would be $6,000 in a 20-footer to send it from here in Tassie.
That's the cheapest part of it.
That's not too bad. I thought it'd be more.
No, it's cheaper to send it to China or Japan because there's a lot of empty containers going back from Japan or China. So it costs like $5,000 to send your car to Japan from Australia. But it's
I heard it was less. Actually.
Yeah. That's how Matty Field sent his car over there, how cheap it was. It's cheaper to build a car here and send it over there than it is to build a car over there.
Yeah, for sure, because they don't have a huge amount of that sort of skilled workers over there. But then I know Chris Forsberg has a Corvette being built over there in China for the D1 China series or whatever, and a bunch of Chinese guys building that. So
how is that series going? I didn't see really much of it last year.
I think it's a rich person's series as far as my understanding of that series. It's like
that's a feeling I get as well.
It's like it's like
there's a lot of hired or like rented drivers or
I think it's an elite series, and I wish more media would come out from it, and hopefully more does start to come out of it, because I think that if China keeps going the direction it is, that's where a lot of these guys are going to end up, because it's going to be big paid to drive on big money teams backed by rich dudes with a shitload of money, because that's what they like, and that's where I think that's where the
rich guys just want bragging rights.
Yeah, pretty much. And the fact that like last year there was that event that was sort of this brand new sort of track that was next door to people who got the shits, and they sort of got that event shut
Oh, the
down.
police came.
Yeah,
the
but that
police
event wasn't even
shut-
supposed to take place. They didn't have permits or whatever to run that event, and that track was like freshly laid, and there was still like oil from the tar on the surface, and it was dangerous and all this sort of stuff. But that's just Chinese flexing, really. Like, hey, this is what we can do. I think a couple of their stadium events were the same, where they weren't actually really supposed to take place, but they're like, let's do it.
Yeah, I think they want like a lot of countries to be number one, and so then they go, well, if American can do FD, then we can do like a drift series here, and just all these rich guys like just pour money into the event. They just pretty much spend, and make it
'Cause
happen.
Who drives over there? There's Chris Forsberg, obviously. There's
Yeah, Matt Field's done a few rounds of
Field.
it.
There's another. Who's the other?
Daigo's
Daigo's
there.
a bunch.
There's another.
Kawabata's there, I think.
Carl Barr's been there. I think Cole Armstrong did a year, didn't he?
Yeah, there's been lots of little Chinese, because they had that World Drift Series thing there years ago too, where they were paying for a few of the FD guys to send cars over, but it seems like they've got a few more local guys driving now as well, and they sort of,
There's Charles as well.
yeah.
Charles Andrew. Yeah. Who's the other Falcon guy? Another Japanese driver who drives the Falcon Tires 86 with Matt Field.
Oh,
It's not the winner. It's not. Is it Kikuchi?
Eiji will know
No,
better than I
Kikuchi.
do. I'm awful with their names. I recognize cars, but not names.
It
But
might be Kikuchi.
yeah, but there's a lot of those guys over there driving that sort of series. So, but I guess with the social media blocks and stuff over there, that's why we probably don't see a crazy amount of it. But yeah, I think that would be definitely of interest to see more and more of that. But I think more and more of that will start to come out. That's somewhere you should be looking to go, mate. Not take your own car, but build your profile big enough that they're like, oh, this.
Oh yeah, well
this-
Jake Jones went and did drifting over there as well. Right?
Nah,
Oh,
it's
Thailand.
Nah,
No,
yeah,
he
he
did
did
China.
Thai,
Oh,
but
that's right.
It was
he
a
did-
different series.
yeah, different series
though.
though. Yeah.
But he got pretty sure. I don't think he got paid, but it was a sponsored drive.
Yeah, it was
so
a paid
he just
for
had
drive.
to turn up. Yeah, which is cool. And I think that boosts your profile if you can say,
Well, he won the
competed
championship,
in this
didn't
event.
Yeah.
He got the beat because
I
the
think
Italian guy in the FD was there as well. Federico.
No, I think that's when he did the D1 event. But I think I feel like it was like a. No, who was it?
Frederick Osbo
No,
with
I
did
think-
a couple of events.
Yeah, and then I think
James Tang is the guy who runs
yeah, and
runs some of the
then
cars.
and I feel like Emmanuel, whatever his name is, who was doing a bunch of. I think he tried. He was in D1 for a little while. Thai guy. Drove one of Daigo's cars. JZX 100 green. Manuel, can't think of his last name. Nope, nobody. Nah, nothing. All right.
No.
I think you'll know it when you. Armandio or whatever.
Oh yeah, I've heard the name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have good internet in Tasmania. It's okay. You only just got your NBN.
Definitely not. I got my NBN about 2 years ago, mate. I don't know.
Yeah, but this is all
Jesus.
That's all pre that. So.
I see. No, Macarito drove a couple of rounds as well in that
Yeah.
series.
Yeah, but he's crap.
Yeah, well, no comment there.
He's
a-
way.
He's a face. He's definitely a face of motorsport, but he's definitely not the best.
Yeah.
He's like DK.
He's better than DK, but
He wasn't too bad at World Time
he's
Attack.
going on down that path. Nah, he's fucking had it. Like he's past his sort of
He's
peak
past.
in terms of driver skill. I think he'd still beat me in a normal race, but just
Like a
there's
foot
so
race,
many or anything.
Nah, he's
What
just pretty-
doesn't matter?
EG's pretty
Nah,
fast.
I'm not fit. Nah, no way.
He's just got no
He's
endurance.
got fat.
Yeah, that's probably part of it too. But seriously, would you look at sort of trying to make a program somewhere overseas work, like, or is that
Oh,
is that still
yeah.
is that still something you sort of fantasize?
Korea?
How old are you now? Mid-20s?
23,
Okay.
22 actually,
Shit.
23 next year.
Still a
next month.
baby. Still a
I-
baby.
I don't feel it, mate. Definitely not.
Mum and dad working too hard.
Oh, no, no holidays, that's for sure.
Um, but so is it something you'd seriously consider doing though? Like looking at trying to move to a country and try and make it where there's a bigger scene and you could probably potentially turn it into slightly more professional. I know, well, I think every series in the world, all the other guys have some form of job or drifting they've turned into a marketing job, but they're still working. Would you go and chase that sort of stuff somewhere else?
If the opportunity
Or no, would
arrives,
you
then
create the opportunity yourself? Would you ever take the risk?
yeah, it's hard to. It's yeah. I mean, like I said, if the opportunity is there, like if I could say, all right, I'm gonna do this, but I'm guaranteed that I'm gonna get a drive, I'm gonna be able to afford it, blah blah blah. Then yeah, 100%. But yeah, you kind of have to have something to fall back on. Like you can't get the car over there and get broke, and then you leave the car over there and you have to work your ass off to get the car back. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna have to have a fallback or a safety plan just in case something happens. I'll be shipping a car over there. It's harder than building a car over there because you can just sell the car over there that you built and you can still have your car here. And having a place to keep it and store it, and because there's a lot of money in just that storing and maintenance. And if the car breaks or does an engine, then you're pretty much screwed.
Yeah. Have
Unless
you
you have
So
have you
if
followed?
you had, yeah,
Go.
you go.
No, because mine will be
You
a long
go.
point. No, you go because mine will be a long point.
There you go. No, that's right.
No, go.
There you go. There you go, Greg.
No, then you're gonna make then it's like, oh, fucking Greg never shuts the fuck up.
I say it anyway.
Anytime today, gentlemen.
Well, have you followed much of the Adam LZ stuff of late, like the last couple of days?
Not really, no.
So he was on
Obviously,
Maximum
he's gone to
Yeah, so he's doing
FP2.
yeah, so he's doing Pro 2. He did like a 30-minute video this morning or whatever of how he's running his program, and then he did Maximum Drift Cast today, and it's like dead set, no fucking around. That guy, like he's not there to fuck around.
No.
Spare short block, spare gearbox, spare quick change, spare every arm, spare every line on the car, spare body kits with full wrap, crew chief, mechanic, guy to organise tools and clean cars, one guy on photos, one guy on video, one on spotter.
Far out.
Like he's not half.
Who's funding this?
His social media stuff
He's
is
sponsored. He's earned it all. Like he's
yeah,
not. It's not sponsored.
yeah, self funded through his social media
Jesus.
and then some of his sponsored stuff.
But he can't tell what sponsors his sponsors are. You can't actually see them on the car.
Well, he said that like all his videos, he's basically said that they get more value out of his videos than they would out of 10 seconds of the car being like, flashing past the screen. So they would rather not sit. They'd rather the car keep looking clean and cool, and then him do videos about their parts than about them doing that. But I sort of look at
because that's his style. Yeah.
but I look at him and him coming in 110%, like no messing around, the best package that he can possibly show up with, and he is using that as a stepping stone. If he wants to go to Pro 1, that he is setting himself up for the best possible, best possible route and that's sort of where that sort of series is really heading towards. It should be 16, 24, 32 guys showing up with that sort of package in place.
Yeah.
Because that's what it takes, and that's what people should be aiming for,
Yeah.
rather than being like, oh, I'm just gonna scrape together. I hope I don't, blow a diff because that's me done for half the season or whatever.
Yeah.
And
that's why we haven't really looked into it as much, because you kind of need a spare car. Like, you really need to ship 2 cars that will pretty much the same car over there,
Yeah,
except shell.
Shell, yeah.
You need diff, drive shafts, pretty much everything, drivetrain, everything,
Engine,
suspension,
computer, blah blah blah.
commuter. Yeah, you're pretty much spending double the amount on the car. So if you have a $50,000 car, there's another $40,000 to $50,000 on spare parts just in case. Like, it's an if. Like, if something breaks.
And you've got to make somebody else pay for it somehow, unless you're retardedly rich.
Yeah, exactly. Or the bank takes it.
Yeah, and I can't imagine Helen's gonna let you do that sort of stuff to yourself. So you're trying to find somebody else to pay for it at that stage.
I think the best option would be to borrow a car, if we're going to go something like that, or build one over there.
Yeah, of course. But then it's the rest of the program, or I guess doing like a Pat Gooden and you piggyback a program. So I think from my understanding of like a Pat Gooden situation is he's paying some sort of fee throughout the whole season to use the car, and then I think that also brings on board the support of Matt's crew for looking after the car during the event. I think similar to
I thought that's Matt's business, isn't it?
Yeah, it is now. Yeah, it is now. But
no,
he said
it was before, because I remember when he was down here for DCA, he said that's the service he gives to. It was more for the Pro 2 guys, I think it was at the time.
Yeah, potentially. Or probably Pro-Am, because I don't think when he was out here, Pro Tour had really kicked off
whatever
at
it's
that
called.
stage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember he was talking about it and then the costing involved, and he actually gets, so he knows what he's doing. He can get each, when he gets the team, he will actually get a team together for that person.
Yeah.
So that they don't need to worry about it, and he's sort of managed that, and that way it's all paid, it's all looked after, and then it funds his drifting as well, which is cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So
do you think Pat Gooden should have gone back to Pro 2 instead of Pro? What do you reckon?
No, I think he held his own pretty well
He did. Yeah, I've heard some comments saying that, he's been out of it for a couple of years. He should have gone back to Pro 2 and could get his license back to do Pro 1 again.
But from speaking to Jack, who's spoken to James and stuff like that, it sounds like driving on those big tyres is its own world of grip. And I'd be interested to see, once you've done your JZ swap on the 13, if Mum can get you a really fat pair of
Come on, mate.
Isn't that on social media? No?
Nope.
Oh, my bad. People are just gonna fly down to Tassie and start beating you up.
You'll see how many people listen this deep into the show.
Yeah. This is just us.
Right.
This is us shit talking This is just us shit talking at this stage. Not that many people listen to ours.
It's so far diverted from a Harvey topic, though. So I was just thinking about an hour ago.
Kind of, but we want to see where Matt wants to go with it.
Obviously,
I want to promote Matt. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, we're trying to promote Matt to see if he's serious about going overseas, and then get somebody to help him fund to go overseas.
Yeah, I know. It's slightly on track at the moment, but
I forgot where I was at with it.
Yeah. If there was an opportunity arise where...
Oh yeah, get Mum to sponsor you a big set of bloody semi-slick tyres, like a really fat pair, and then...
What's a really... Like a 285 or like a 265? Or...
No, like a 295.
285, fine. 285.
Yeah, maybe a 285, and just I'd love to see even just a back-to-back with a 265 and see what, like a big fat sidewalled one with the pressures right down, and see what difference you feel with it.
If we had a quick change,
another tail shaft again.
Yeah, if we had a quick change, and then we had a carbon fiber tail shaft and all that good stuff, then yeah, sure.
Don't stress about that stuff. Just send it, mate.
How about we do it on 350 and see how it goes?
Done. If Mum can hook me up with a set of tyres, then done. Let's do it.
All I say is good luck.
Just drive around. I don't think you'd even actually push it.
No, probably not. Nah, of course not. I'd just be slipping the clutch the whole way. Winner, winner, winner. Yeah.
Come on, V6, mate. That's bigger than the 4-cylinder. Should be able to do it just fine. More torque.
Nah, I was struggling spinning 245s at 30 psi on concrete.
Why do you
so,
run 245?
Because that's what I had.
Is it cheaper than 235s?
Nah. So it was just the factory wheels, and they were like a staggered setup or whatever, and I had new tires on it. So before I put fancy rims on the car, I figured I'd flog those tires, and yeah, 245 was pretty grippy even at 30 psi. So on concrete though, so concrete is like, yeah, you know what the skid pan at Simmons Plains is like. Concrete.
Yeah,
is
just ruins tires.
Yeah, concrete's so much more grippy, but then it just makes the sort of the tires chunk up and fall apart. So
yeah, it just gets too hot.
Yeah.
Tires get way too hot.
In FD, do people actually drop back from Pro 1 to Pro 2, or does that never happen before?
That used to happen.
Yeah, and they've what did they change it to? I think once they've got high enough numbers, people start getting relegated. Once they brought the Pro 2 thing in, and also if you don't use your license for more than 2 seasons or something, then you lose it and get dropped back. But when they say if you don't use it, I'm pretty sure you can still petition your way in. So if you're like a Daigo, you'd still walk straight back into your top tier. You wouldn't have to go back to your Pro 2. It's more them. I think the whole thing is more invitational than anything now. Like if they, if Matt got a strong program together with his strong results and going overseas and getting okay results and
like Mitch Lana.
You'd walk into well, Mitch got his license through IDC though, so
IDC because he got second in the championship.
Yeah, so he didn't need to petition for anything. He already had it.
Yeah, because I thought that was licensed to do Pro 2.
No, that's licensed for Pro 1. So they've deemed you as being a strong enough driver and competitor, even though the courses are very different. And I think honestly, Mitch would have handled that better than some of the other guys who were awarded those licenses because of the fact that Mitch drives really fast courses and stuff over in WA, where I think some of the guys who are just IDC drivers would have struggled to go over and do that style of course.
Akiba, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Did any of them do it?
No,
or was it just Mitch?
No, just Mitch.
Okay.
I think Dwayne will be better after doing more. Like I think the plan is for him to do a season of Drift Masters, so that will make him a little bit more versatile and stuff like that. But I think places like Australia and New Zealand and all that, I think create versatility, where your places like Ireland not as versatile because they're sort of really restricted with what they've got in front of them.
Yeah, we've only got Mondello or car parks pretty much.
Yeah, and then you guys like the Shanahans go out and going to Europe and stuff like that, and that's where they've sort of really honed their skills as opposed to being national champion and then going off and realizing that there's a whole lot more to it. So
well, yeah, I guess doing Europe is not as expensive for them as it seems because it's literally just I guess on the boat to Europe, but then you drive 8 hours and you're in another country where you drive 8 hours here.
You've driven through 4 countries in 8 hours. So
yeah, and you can pretty much drive across Europe in 3 or 4 days, even a week.
Well, yeah, that's like the whole way across Europe. That's like basically getting into the Middle East at that stage. So
yeah, so it's I guess it's cost effective for them. Well, if we keep doing IDC or drift games now, that we can only go so far. Where if we do drift games, there's so much more opportunity, and it still costs around the same, kinda. So you might as well do drift games and do really well in there, get recognised. More sponsors, more recognition, obviously goes a lot further.
Yeah.
So, do you reckon Fallen Drift would take the license off the drift games and go to Drift Masters? Since it's more, I guess, now Drift Masters.
I don't know about it.
Sa yeah, same. I'm pretty sure, really, because I think Brian, who's in charge of Drift Games, is also part owner, part in charge of Drift Masters. So
Hmm.
I think it all sort of falls under the same similar sort of relationships. And I think that was purely a relationship thing done just to build, try and get people who are watching, because I think they were compared to Drift Masters. I think uh, FD and IDC would have been your biggest social media watched drift series in the world, compared to, because I don't think, yeah, to me Drift Masters didn't seem to have as strong a social media presence as IDC has, but I think Drift Masters is definitely getting up there as well now though.
Well, I think that video, pretty much the 50-minute video that Brian did of Drift Games, really shone Drift Masters into like another league.
Yeah.
Where where a lot of people recognised how good it was.
Yeah.
And so people want to do it, like the Dwayne McKeever's and the Shanahan's going back and stuff like that. Where I didn't know what Drift Masters was until I watched that video and go, holy shit, like this is better than the Irish drifting.
Yeah.
I would want to do that over Irish drifting because that seems like it's more international than just Ireland. Like it's multi-nation.
Yeah. Yeah, and sort
Like
of
almost like a World Series, but more multi-Europe series.
yeah, but just really when you go into different populations, like, and countries with high populations, and you're hitting not different demographics, but different populations, you get bigger fan bases, you create bigger fan bases, bigger turnouts to each event, because it's not, you keep hitting the same market every single time. But I guess you look at your IDC is like your national soccer or something like that, and you build you go for your team or whatever, and you show up every single week and you want to watch it every single week. So the same people show up every single time. Where your Drift Masters is a little bit more like your Formula One or your V8 supercars, where you're trying to hit different people each time. So
yeah.
So you heard it here
Go
first.
for the driver.
Matt Harvey's going to try and do Drift Masters in the next couple of years.
Someone sponsor me a drive, and I'll definitely do it. Whichever part of the country or nation, whether it's on the mainland or New Zealand or Europe or Asia or wherever, I would do. Depending on the money, I'd probably pay for a sponsorship drive as well.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't even want to imagine like that sort of, looking at trying to do that sort of thing's pretty crazy. But hopefully more DCA comes, then more international driving opportunities for you happen. Just go and win, buddy, the round of drift games that you go to, mate.
If I was that easy, mate. I mean,
Just
Mitch
win it.
Lane's been doing, Mitch Lane's been trying for the last year and got second so many times. Not even funny.
Yeah, but but do you reckon they'd get upset when you get there and then they're like, we got beaten by a dude with two heads, so it doesn't count?
Do I get first and second?
Straight up,
I'll
you just straight up
take
turn to the
third.
guy on third and be like, can you get off the podium because that's this guy's spot? And you're like, no, I'm taking first and second, fuck off.
I'll definitely have to get another helmet painted to my helmet.
But the worst part is nobody over there would get it, and I think
Nah.
less and less Australians get it now because we're all way too PC, so. Getting boring. Alright, I think we're all tired now, and we've talked too much shit.
Yeah.
So, other than...
No one wasn't going to talk too much. It's been an hour, 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
That's alright. I really want to cough, but I don't want to cough into the microphone.
Just mute yourself for a second.
Nah, then everybody, like, people get upset when they can't hear my voice. Because I'm Gregory Merriman. Or, 34 gets upset. So, you want to go through and thank your sponsors for anybody who's made it this late, and tell me about the Performance Wheels guys. Is that mum and dad as well, or is that other people?
No, so just like most sponsors we have, also not with Kumo Tires, we get them in from Kumo Tire Australia, and then we sell them to the public. So we sell them to dealers. So we get a sponsorship through them. Same Performance. So we're a dealership for Performance Wheels. So we distribute to all like the Bob Janes, the Bridgestones, the Goodyears, the blah 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 blah. And then they sell to the public. So we're a distribution for Performance Wheels. So that's how we got the sponsorship through them.
Yeah.
So with Kumo.
And you sell one to the mainland with that stuff as well, and
yeah,
you guys
so
can
we
hook up people with stuff on the mainland.
Yeah, so we sponsor Dale Campaign and Troy Libby. I can't say his last name to save my life. Yeah, but so we buy tires for them, and then we get shipped over from there from Sydney to Adelaide, and they go pick them up. But yeah, so there's a pretty much it's a three car Kumo team. Me, Troy, and Dale when we're doing DCO. So that's pretty cool.
But if people wanted to say buy bulk tires, because I think you guys have some fancy new 235 street tires out, probably the new Daigo Saito version of some tires that are, come on, super not legit, probably some semi-slick compound that's in a street tire or whatever, but you got, like, you can, so if I hit you up and said, alright, my car actually works now, I need X number of tires for the year, you can hook me up with a deal on bulk tires and stuff like that through you guys if people got in contact.
Yes. If you guys get in contact with us, should be able to sort something out. Obviously bulk. We're not going to do the effort of doing 4 or 8 tires. If it's like 20 tires, then it's obviously worth it for us.
Yeah.
What sort of tires do you recommend? Like, what do you use for a normal practice track day, kind of drift day?
So Kumo do a tire called a Zetum. It's kind of like it's a sister company called Zetum, and a lot of the Bob Janes stuff use it. And they do 215s, all the 235s, 240, 18s, 17s, 16s, whatever you want to do. And they're pretty cheap. They're probably $75 to $80 a tire, and that's what we use on my sister's car, just practice and stuff like that. And that's what I'm going to be using on Skyline when I'm driving. It's just a cheap alternative to. Obviously, we still do the Kumo. Still recommend buying Kumo, but yeah, Zetum's still a part, like a sister company to Zetum. So I would recommend them for a drift tire for a budget Kumo.
Okay.
So
we need to do a group by EG, but nobody else runs a 105 like you do.
215.
I run 215 40.
105. 105. Where do you get 105 from?
I don't know.
That's Connor. Connor runs 105.
I'm just giving you
Have you
shit.
Did you see the photo that? Oh, did I send that to you when we put
a Space Saver stretched onto a normal rim?
125 onto a 15-inch rim.
Mate, you can't be as bad as some of the guys running light truck tires, 185 14.
They last long because they just turn into a belt eventually.
Yeah, 185 14, so it's a light truck tire. So it's hard.
Yeah, I've done that before. They don't last. They just peel off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
You sound like you go well in Tasmania.
Why am I not surprised? Yeah, I don't know why you would even try doing that, but it doesn't surprise me.
It's in a scrap pile, and it has like this much tread in there, which is It's like it's chunky as. So I'm like, oh yeah, might as well give it a go.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And how long did it last?
Not very long.
Ah.
It was very slippery and it just chunked up. I think after I spun out after a few corners, it just like disintegrated. So, yeah. Terrible.
Well, they don't use them on burnout cars. There must be a reason why you shouldn't run them.
It was just in a scrap pile, so that's where I normally go. It's not really often that I buy new tires these days.
bloody easy.
Not many people do.
Oh, you got a set of 235 semi-slicks you can use at your next event, EG.
Yeah, they were like the used stuff, aren't they?
They weren't too bad. They're just a bit
Just
sunbaked
put
now.
Just
They're
put
all
them on
used
the
tires.
house for about 6 years, and then they go hard, and you can use them again. That's what a lot of people do with like old steer tires. They just put them out in the sun for a couple of years, and then they use them again on the back, so they're hard.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm going to use actually for the bash is some really hard or like square semis. I think I was given.
Yeah, they can get up. They get a bit hot, and they get grippy, and then you can get on Daigo's door.
Through, not on
Through.
through.
I mean,
That's not his car though.
That's right.
whose car is he driving?
Man, I've almost plowed Daigo before. It's got because he doesn't run brake lights. it's really
Oh,
scary.
It's come full circle about the brake lights, isn't it? You know, Nike run the one front brake light.
Yeah. So anyway, is there anything else that you want to plug?
Other sponsors, Disco Tune, all those guys.
Yeah, Chemo, Performance, Disco Tune, obviously Mum and Dad for putting a program for me to drive around Australia with. You know, they love driving around Australia, but you know that's mostly because of me. So huge thanks for them. Obviously the guys that work on the car, Disco Tune for currently building the car. It's pretty much almost ready to go. Should be ready by. There's a Matsuri down here, DCA Matsuri down here on the 25th and 26th of May, so it should be ready for them for testing. Lotta London Industries for doing all the fab work on it. And family, friends, everyone who supports me. Like I said before, there's a couple of comments goes a long way in drifting. Your mates come up and you say, that was a sick run, you're doing well at that. It goes a long way, it builds your confidence up. A lot of people with drifting need a lot more self-confidence in themselves, from what I've found. Especially with guys don't really do competition. They just go, I don't know, I don't really want to do it. I don't think I'm going to do any well in it. I think a lot of people can use positive comments that will help them get better. And, I know a few guys that really struggle with self-confidence. So every chance I get, I go, hey man, you're doing really well. Keep doing what you're doing and do a little bit, do tiny little bits. Oh, and that you're doing awesome, and that's lifts them up so much. It's that's crazy. So those guys have really helped me along. So thanks to them.
And then where are we seeing you next event? So I know you've got Tita Invitational lined up.
So next national event is going to be our State of Origin in July.
Yeah.
I think it's the 7th of July.
Yeah.
But next drift day is going to be 27th of April.
Yeah.
Down here at Baskerville, which you should come down and drive one day.
I do. The Baskerville's on my list. It's been on my list for a long time. So hopefully.
You gotta be quick. They're really trying to get rid of drifters.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm surprised they can keep it open without all forms of racing going on there.
No, they think we damage the tracks too much, so they're trying to get rid of us.
Fair enough.
Oh.
Even though how the first corner is really cambered?
Yeah.
Well, what damages the concrete the most, also the track surface most, is bike pegs. They dig into the asphalt and tear it all up.
Definitely
So-
the drifters, because all the bike pegs on the drift cars.
Yeah, so they've been warned not to do it. If they're not, then they have to take the bike pegs off. So,
Well, that's all
Just-
right then. Well, hopefully they get in trouble first.
but yeah. So come down the next year or so, and you'll be able to drive Barsfield. This,
Fingers
So eventually, no one's going to be able to drive on there from the sounds of it.
Yeah,
Pretty
It's
much.
just there for show.
Yeah, you just gotta
Yeah.
leave it there so it doesn't get damaged.
it's pretty much there for historics, and that's about it. Historic racing and
The cars that don't drive fast.
pretty much it.
Okay. Bummer. That was such a cool course. It was a good location too.
Yeah, but it's fast and then slows up, which is what you want for drifting. Like
Yeah.
fast.
And it's like 20 minutes from Hobart as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a nice area too. Like just going down there, it's really cool. I like it.
I would recommend to anybody bring a car that's registered, that's not defectable. Or yeah,
I've seen
Well, you
Craig
pretty
drive
much
his
can-
cars on the road, and that's a pretty, it's got stickers all down the side. It's got a cage, or at least a half
Yeah.
cage, and he drives it to
Well,
a
half-
tracks a day.
yeah, half these cars still have stickers on them and drive like you said, they barcode and stuff. So cops don't care as long as it doesn't it's not slammed to the ground and has like wheels that are like cambered like 6 degrees of camber and stuff like that. So if it doesn't look like a bogan drift car, then you're pretty much right. Like
Yeah, cool.
we've driven definitely cars are not registered on streets to get tuned or get wheel allowance down the street and stuff like that, and driven past cops and they just look the other way. So
Unless you're chopping Lucy and then you get pulled over.
yeah, well, have you seen their cars? They're not they stand out quite a bit. Maybe the
Well,
big
wrong-
wing.
Wrong reasons.
Maybe definitely the big wing that the cops go, hey, what the fuck
They're
is that?
cop magnets. Yeah.
And it's chopped.
Yeah.
I mean,
so.
And
Oh, they
Lucy,
look cool. They're
Lucy
cop
would have got
magnets.
away with no worries. Like there's been. Yeah,
Yeah.
Lucy would have got away with no worries.
And Chop would have
it's-
just punched
it's-
people.
Yeah, we won't go into that though.
Okay, what about social media? Facebook, YouTube, Instagram?
Well, you pretty much tagged
Uh,
me. You tagged me in Instagram and Facebook, so I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, but this is people that are listening on
Nah,
in their car. Or
Some people actually just
at
rip
work.
the YouTube channel
Yeah.
into an MP3 and then listen. There are actually a fair few
Yeah, they
people
don't
that do it.
actually. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't watch it or look at the videos.
that's what I'll do. So my Facebook is Matt Harvey Motorsport. That's my Facebook page, and my Instagram is the same thing. So Matt Harvey Motorsport, and that's all I have is Facebook, Instagram. I try to post up every now and again, but I forget and get really busy, and then
And you might
forget
see,
most of the time.
and then there might
No
be some,
YouTube.
No YouTube,
Not
not-
at all.
nothing. I'm not that fancy. I don't have a vlog. I'm not that good, unfortunately.
just get a GoPro, mate. Shove it in your own face.
Pretty much. Like even the GoPro 2, the quality is good enough in the Hero 2s.
You can't. What the
If-
fuck's the Hero 2, mate?
Hero 2s are awesome.
Mate,
They're such good cameras.
go back to 2000. You're so
They,
old
they
some
cost
days.
like next to nothing now. And then they've got the best suction cup as well in the Motorsport pack. You don't know? Jeez, okay,
No.
alright.
Back in your box, mate. Mate, he's 20. He's 22 and a half. Like he's young. He doesn't. He was barely even born
He
when the
needs
Hero
to
2
buy
came
the
out.
$600 GoPro. What's
Mate,
now? What's up?
yeah, he's
Six?
Seven.
Seven?
The anti-shake
$600
cam.
GoPro 7. Bloody hell.
I just do it,
Money
Jackson
bags.
Snell. Jackson Snell and gets a vlog camera because he's starting to vlog now, isn't he?
Just do it on your phone. Do it on your phone.
On the phone.
Yeah, someone's doing it on their iPhone before. That was alright.
Hmm.
Matt's like, no, I'm still not going to do it.
I'm not confident enough to talk behind in front of the camera.
You know, I think one of the biggest problems is that they're trying to talk to promote themselves, but really when you do the vlog, I think if you're not really that confident with it, try like talking to someone from your family or your friends and just sort of imagine that like this is a video for them and not for like a huge audience.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm doing now. I can see two people on the screen, so that's who I'm talking to. If I could see like a crowd, then I would just like freak out and just like, no, couldn't do it.
Yeah, but a lot of people try and imagine that their video is going to be watched by 1 million people, but
Yeah, definitely
I think that style might put other like potential viewers off. And if you start doing it as if like you're talking to say your best mate or something, don't mention the name, but like, you know, just say, hey, this is what I'm up to, and this is, you know, blah blah blah, and just as if you're talking to your mate through this video.
That's also saying. That's also saying that I'm interesting enough to watch.
It's not up to you to judge. It's not up to you whether or not you're interesting enough to watch. It's up to the public whether or not you're interesting enough to watch. It's up to you just to make the videos and then.
Yeah. Well, if I get enough comments on messages saying I should make a vlog, then I'll start doing one.
But see, I look back at some of my skating stuff and go, I wish I'd just been videoing stuff then. Don't you wish for your Europe trips, the 2 Europe trips, you'd had more videos done?
Well, I've got GoPro footage from the last King of Europe.
But just and just some silly shit. Like
we were like looking for the videos ever. Like we kept searching shit on Facebook and
I want to see
YouTube,
Matt Harvey in a hairdresser's car.
Yeah, there was like 2 videos on Facebook, and that was it.
Yeah, well, yeah, the internet wasn't that great over there, and I was running out of 4G very quick.
To put it up
when you get back, you know, you do it when you like. There's people posting like way past their trip. They post it now.
Yeah, we want to see some Instagram, even if it's just like single runs. Want to see some pop up on the Instas.
Right.
Yeah, and just like pop up runs throughout the next week or something, or like, you know, space them out a bit somehow.
Don't put any pressure on the guy. Yeah, we expect 7 runs in 7 days, mate. Thanks.
Yeah, inside and outside footage as well as from.
Get off that bloody simulator for 10 minutes and edit your video.
I have to tell you what, I've fucking broken my wheel. I've got no force feedback.
Oh, that's weird, isn't it? That's weird when that happens. Yeah.
It just crunches and I can't transition with it. I've been driving with the FD cars and just can't do it.
It's not that complicated. You haven't tried pulling it apart yet?
Oh my goodness, this has turned into a fucking full-blown tech, like, whatever. Jake's like the only person who's still listening to this shit, and he's probably just like...
He's working. He's probably sitting at work doing nothing anyway, like on patrol. The army base.
Defending Australia.
Yeah. The North Koreans.
Alright, let's wrap this shit up and then we'll talk shit off here.
After that comment, yep, we're done.
Alright. Thanks for coming on, Matt. I'm sure we'll have you again.
Good.
Probably next week because it's just easier to line you up because you seem like you come on. So we'll go round 3 with Matt. This is like this is like Drifting SA's final battle. You gotta win 2 of 3 to go through.
Well, yeah. Whenever you guys don't have another driver, I'll be happy to come on and talk shit with you.
Well, we've got FD in 2 weekends' time, so we'll see what happens after that. Because
not this again.
EG doesn't know.
Not FD.
Yeah, come on, mate. Oh, but that's just... Oh, no, we're good.
Just go to Summernats, just watch burnouts, or I could just go down to, like, the nature reserve.
Hey, let's be real. You said Adam LZ's run, the entries on that track were cool, and then you're up for that. Then it was all... It was
Yeah,
all
that
meh.
was cool.
Yeah,
Did you see that?
yeah, but that's
Yeah.
that track. That's the
That's
next
like-
round.
Nah, that's like his style, but I don't know. I wonder if he's gonna get rewarded for that shit.
Right, well, you're gonna have to watch and see.
Yeah.
There we go, EG. We got you on the hook now. All right. Well,
Yep.
thanks for listening, guys. Whoever's been dumb enough to listen till this late. Sorry, Matt, for taking this shit on tangents attached to tangents with some tangents and some other tangents.
I couldn't even follow what was going on.
Nah, me
No.
either. I don't remember
Yeah.
what we actually spoke
Yeah.
about.
You kept going on, and I just anyway, whatever.
I told you at the start. I'm just out of it. All right. Well, we will
Okay.
catch you guys next week with something and somebody, hopefully, and I don't even know. All right. Take it
Gotcha.
easy.
Thanks, guys.
Hey.
All right.
Bye.
And happy 34.